All right. Cool. So we have our Buccaneer here from Chad Academy, obviously, because you're a Buccaneer.
Mm-hmm.
Only Giga Chads allowed in there, I'm guessing.
Only.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing
Yeah.
very well. Um, just came back to Maple like 4 months ago, and I've been playing every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But I took like a 10-year hiatus.
10. Okay.
Yeah, I used to play before Big Bang. I had like a 120 bishop back in the day when it was hard to get to 120, and then
Mm-hmm.
after that,
It's a while ago. Yeah.
a very long time ago. After that, I just stopped playing
Mm-hmm.
because all my friends stopped playing. The reason why I played was because this was like before WoW. You know, this is the game that everybody hopped on
Right.
after school and played. So
Yeah. Yeah. You're like middle school. You're talking, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So now middle school's over. College is almost over.
College is over. No, college is over.
Over. Yeah. Yeah. A few steps.
20,
Steps into-
27 now.
Yeah. Did you get out before all the COVID stuff happened?
Yeah, I graduated right before COVID happened, but it kind of
Jeez.
screwed up my career choice in college. I went for teaching, and then I had to stop teaching because of it.
Oh, okay. Well, because everything was like at home. Yeah.
Remote. Yeah, it was horrible. It was
Damn.
the worst thing.
Yeah, my neighbor was like in school for like fucking Slavic languages, and she was supposed to have an internship in Russia, so that kind of fell through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine going into college with like everything at home and stuff. That sounds like a nightmare. The only reason I was able to pass college is going to in-person classes and at least picking up some of the stuff.
Yeah.
If it was
Yeah,
all remote,
I'm a
oh man.
very visual learner and like hands-on learner.
Yeah.
So like not being in class would have screwed
Yeah,
me.
that sounds
Even
like
when
it
I
would be-
took like one online class during my semester,
Uh-huh.
like a semester, I failed it. Just
Yeah,
like,
you could feel
never
like the,
never did the class, never did
Yeah.
the work.
God, it's so relatable. Yeah, yeah. I can imagine doing the whole thing remote, and it's such a completely
Yeah.
different experience. But we're here now, remote learning.
Yeah, true.
So what can we do you for? So you've come back. You found a guild you like. Made some new friends. Some people to play with.
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I got back during the last event where
Yeah.
I made the burning character, which is this character, my buck.
Yeah. So Destiny and all the remakes
yeah,
and the new buck
exactly.
and yeah.
But I started like 2 weeks before the event was over, so I really had to push to like 220
Right,
to
okay.
get those Absolab gear,
Mm-hmm.
or like 230 or whatever. Um,
Yeah, I think
and then I was like,
220,
okay, well, this is like the best class in the world.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the most. It's so easy to grind. It's so easy to boss. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But my Legion at the time was like only 1500.
Yeah, because you were
now
focusing
it's
so hard
easy.
on the levels of just your main character, right? To get all the rewards. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I still have that Absolab weapon right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working on a new one. Found a guild, just joined one, really. Nobody really talks in this guild, but they help me with bosses sometimes if I need it, like the harder ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I did join a Discord, and I talked to them a couple times.
Mhm.
So it's like we're getting back into it, getting back into the grind.
Yeah, just because you mentioned before, right? Like playing with friends, it seems like I don't know if you're still at that same level, but it seems like that was something that kind of kept you around, that it made you want to log in and play, and then when that fell apart, it kind of made you not want to play anymore. So it seems like
Well, it was more of like my, I mean, back in the day, like it was just like middle school friends, but like I
Mhm.
also made a lot more friends. Like this game used to be so like social.
social, yeah.
It used to be
Mhm.
so social. You would just add people to your friends list, sit in like Hennessy Hunting Grounds 3 and just talk to people all day long.
Yeah.
It was so much fun, but
Yeah, your time
nobody-
wasn't very valuable spent playing the game necessarily. Like you couldn't make huge gains when you were playing. It just wasn't really possible. And
Yeah.
because of that, your time was relatively equally valued, even more valued just by socializing and by networking. But now,
Yeah.
because your time is so insanely valuable and you can make such huge gains, you're basically like a victim of power creep, where the only way you can almost justify now socializing and hanging out with people is by doing it like in voice chat, so you're talking while you're making gains, because otherwise you're just actively shooting yourself in the foot and being like, oh, do I want to talk to another human, or do I want to make progress in this game? And every single second you could be making progress, so you're constantly weighing those options, right? The opportunity cost is just way higher for socializing now, which I think is detrimental. But you saw in the last KMS notes that they were very happy, or satisfied with the fact that the game was very single player oriented. They were actually really happy with that, which is a little bit concerning in my book, because I'm always trying to bring back some of the aspects, at least, of like community back, doing bosses together, not like either getting carried by some stranger or soloing everything. Like, you could do that if you want to, but it just goes so directly against what I feel like an MMO should be doing, right?
I just missed like the 40-man horntail fights and stuff like that. Like
the old pink bean runs with the giant maps, Even Zakum in the beginning.
That was amazing.
Multi-party stuff. Yeah, and those fights took forever.
The one target attacking too, like every single skill, like it only attacked up to like 3 monsters. Like
that was high, It was either hit 6 monsters like one line, or hit 1 monster with a really big attack. Ooh, spooky,
Yeah.
And now the things that were 4th job back then are like 2nd job now, and everything's just been moved through, and I mean, you're talking as a Buccaneer now, you're just flying all over the map, destroying everything while even just looking at it, right?
Yeah, I'm worried my spacebar is gonna break. I'm constantly pressing.
Yeah, I gotta move to Alt for jump, dude. It's superior.
Yeah. Nah, spacebar for sure.
Okay, well, don't break it. So what's the So I guess, do you have any like goals in mind of what to reach with a character, or are you just trying to slowly move forward and trying to just get a better grasp on the systems in the game?
I'm trying to. I would love to get to 250 just to see, because like I've already done everything. Like, I've soloed every single boss except for Chaos Pap, but I know I can do it because I've gotten him to the end phase where I have to like add the time. I just don't know that concept, so like I have to watch a video, but I'm too lazy to learn it, or I just don't have enough time. So I know I can do that.
You're talking about like the clock in the middle with the
where he goes
charts?
frozen, and then you have to I don't understand that, so I just don't do him. But I can solo Chaos Root Abyss, Pink Bean. I can Chaos. I can do normal Empress.
There could be ways around that, by the way, because he only does it like I think about the last 20 to 30% of his HP. He can do that. So if you if you can take off quite a bit of his HP, if you start off with like a regular, just regular fighting instead of with a burst, and then like once he's like past halfway, then you bind him and burst him, you could get him like past that point if you did enough damage so that he can never go into that phase. Because it's like a HP trigger kind of thing. I do have a video on it on !CPAP as well, where I talk through it.
Okay.
I mean, I could explain it briefly. Basically, there's a portal, right? Like a blue portal that appears.
Yeah.
And if you press up on it, it clears whatever piece of the clock is currently highlighted.
Got it.
So you...
that was my only thing.
Yeah, you kill the little monsters, right, on the map, and they drop little clocks, and that just moves the clock forward that amount of time that you loot. And then that will move which piece of the clock is selected. And then just every time a piece of the clock is selected that you want to be cleared, so the highest percentage is first, preferably, you just press up in the portal, and then that gets cleared.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You just got to be careful with the looting, that you don't have a number over your head and over Papulatus's head, right? And that there's like plus, or like ×2 or divide by 2 still on the floor as well. You got to be careful that you don't loot those while you're trying to loot the extra times to switch the clock. Otherwise, you might mess yourself up and get stunned like a whole lot, for example, right? Or sealed at that point. Yeah. But that's basically it, yeah.
So I think if I like spent 25 minutes fighting Lomian and Damien, or Lotus and Damien, I can solo them too, but it's not worth it. And then, so I can pretty much solo all the bosses for my level. I can't do Lucid yet. Haven't been able to get to Will yet because I'm not 235, but I'd like to see like what Gloom is like, and and Dark Knell. So I'd like to see what those fights are about, and I'd like to be able to like not see all the numbers on my screen and just see like the billions, which would be cool.
Right.
Very
Unit
very
damage
far
skin.
away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to be able to, and also I want to find another character I like. I got my Legion up from like 1500 to like 6500 or 6300 right now, and I really have not found another character that doesn't have any type of like lag in its animation when you're double jumping and pressing your mobbing skill, and that's just like fun. And I thought I liked Shadower, but the whole Mesomagnet or Meso Explosion weaving thing is just, it's annoying.
It's annoying. Okay.
Yeah. Thunderbreaker's dope. I like Thunderbreaker because I'm only spamming 2 buttons over and over and over on a flat map.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I've
if you
been
like
working
Buck,
on
then Thunderbreaker would be pretty close, like in theming, and then you could share outfits basically because they're all like bluey, lightningy, or ship pirates kind of deal. So similar vibe.
Yeah. And then
But yeah, for that kind of mobility, I don't. There's no one who's got like the moves like Buccaneer, like the
Lord of the Deep is just amazing. Lord of the Deep is
Yeah.
the best skill on the planet.
Well, I mean, Demon Avenger's Frenzy has the same qualities.
Yes, but if you jump with Demon Avenger, it stops his animation. It's so weird. Like you can't jump and attack with him, if I'm not mistaken.
You could like
You have to like attack and then jump, and then attack and then jump.
well, jump and
You
then
see what I'm
attack.
saying? Yeah. It's not fluid. Like a Buccaneer, you can attack at any point in the.
Like I could do this, right?
Yeah, you could do that. But you can't double. Can you double jump with that?
Could do this.
No.
I can't jump dump. That's as far as I know, Shade can do that. You can jump, attack, and then jump again.
But Shade's animations too, like his mobbing. I forget what the skill is called, but the big orange gorilla-looking animation.
the punch.
Yeah.
Bomb punch, I think.
have- Yeah, unless you're like really strong to be able to like one hit on the first punch animation, it's really not worth it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that kind of mobility is really hard to come across. Ark's definitely got some dashing capabilities that are also damaging skills, so you can like dash through things and kill them at the same time. So none of these classes stood out even a little bit.
Not a single one.
Like Thunderbreaker the most, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, Xenon was pretty cool, but Xenon is, you have to really have money to fund a Xenon. Xenon was pretty fun. It was pretty flexible. I think my hero is I think my hero is broken because he doesn't attack more than 3 mobs with his
main attack.
brandish. Yeah, with his main attack. I think he's broken.
Now you have you probably have the toggle on, right? To do more damage.
I don't know. Let me check.
You got a toggle with I don't know if you put it in a macro or something. You got a toggle that makes you hit fewer targets but do more damage. In the past, that was just a single target. That was like a bossing mode.
Yeah.
But they changed all the single target modes to just being, I think, 1/3 of the regular targets. So if you have,
I swear, if that's the case, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah, if I'm like doing if I'm doing Princess Snow, for example, I have to turn it off when I'm doing like those maps with all of those little mob duders. There you have to turn it off and then turn it back on for the boss at the end.
Oh my god, it's Enrage.
Yep,
oh,
that's what it's called. Yeah. Don't worry, I got you.
I just don't read these skills.
Yeah, no, I know. I go half the
Wow.
boss fights without having Enrage on, and then you're mobbing, and then Enrage was on. It's like, yeah. I mean, in the past, you wouldn't be able to turn it on until you had like full stacks or something. And then if your stacks ran out, sometimes it would disappear and stuff like that. It was a little bit weird. Now you can at least turn it on, and then it'll just go. You know, you can turn it on without stacks now as well. And if you use one of those skills, you max stack immediately, and you don't consume stacks anymore. So they definitely made Hero a lot more, you know, simple with that.
Yeah.
In the past, it was very annoying when you're starting off with Hero. It's like, oh, I could just press World Reaver all the time. But then when you're just starting out, it's like pressing World Reaver, nothing's happening. Oh, I don't have 6 combo. Fuck me, I'm dead. Like, because you're like counting on the iframe. So you really have to get used to stacking up all those combos, and then doing instinctual combo, the combos don't come back as quickly. So now you can just weave everything in, and you keep full stack, so you don't lose all that final damage. So that's a lot more simple now.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
No other class.
My next, like,
yeah.
It might be Hero, because I like Hero is pretty simple. It's just one move. It's really nice, and they do like a lot of damage. Xenon's really fun. My biggest concern is that I'm finding myself only picking strength-based classes, because like my strength in my Legion is crazy high. It's the highest one.
Yeah, who would ever want to do that? Picking only strength-based characters. That's so weird, bro. Who would do that?
I don't know. A weirdo.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There just isn't another fun class. There really isn't just like an easy mobbing fun class. Jump around.
I mean, there's always Adele, but that's not a strength class.
I just got my Adele to level 200, so that chart is off, and that was fun, but just
too simple or something, right? I mean,
too simple.
Yeah. I mean, you get to the more complicated parts with the bosses faster because it's so solid. That's like the silver lining, I would say.
Yeah. But I also don't want to be an Adele maiden, because like...
Yeah, ew. Who would want to be that?
Yeah. It's like the easiest class.
Nah, it's not the easiest. Definitely on bossing, you definitely need to work your mobility very well to be able to survive situations.
Yeah. Which is my biggest concern from a Buccaneer, because I just... Chaos, the Queen, Chaos Queen is like the only one that gets me, because as soon as she turns like the screen black and I'm just like still attacking, I don't see her, that she's like sucking me in, and I'm just like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to jump.
Yeah, that's the well, that's the downside of having to be close to a boss with damage like loaded to deep, right?
Yeah.
For that though, I would say the main outline, the main thing you can do there is really look closely to your character and look at the outline, because she will glow like a dark purple if she's breathing, and then basically go to the opposite side of where you were standing, and then you should be okay. But you really have to look very closely as soon as you get blinded. Really look very closely at her outline in the background. Yeah. Or just iframe them.
Yeah, or just I mean, that's what I normally do.
We're just nuke her before she can... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe Aaron, but Aaron is a bit more all over the place. But Aaron does have like some zoomy mechanics that they can do.
No, Aaron was fun. I played him a little bit. I got him up to like 150, and it was like fun. I don't know 5th job skills and if it's like a lot easier, or if you can stay enraged longer when you hit 1,000 combo.
You get your rogue combo and you get your hyper skill, but you get to, I mean, you can time when it starts.
Yeah.
You get that. I mean, that finisher does a lot of damage, of course.
Yeah.
You have your own bind, so that's kind of nice. You get an extra attack on your Beyond Blade. That also gives you knockdown resistance, so that can help you in situations. I don't know. You just kind of slow the boss, right, with the snow. That's kind of nice. You get to slam your your polearm down.
Yeah, I get to slam my pole.
It's really really satisfying.
Yeah, but I think I think my next main is either gonna be my Thunderbreaker, just level him up to like 220 and make him a boss mule. Or I might get my Xenon up, just because very flashy. A lot of damage too. Xenons have a lot of base damage.
They do, yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, and they're very strong summons, which makes them very formidable in late and endgame mobbing as well. generous hitbox on their main attacks, and huge ass summons. Yeah, definitely overlooked because of the 3 main stat thing, and their matrix can get a bit complicated, right? Because you're stealing jobs from or you're stealing skills from 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So the matrix is like never done. you're constantly adding some buff somewhere. Which
if you notice, if you go back to the other screen, my Phantom, God rest his soul, my Phantom.
Rest his soul, yeah. Is he down?
Is he not on there?
Wait,
is he not on
Oh,
there?
here. Yeah, he's here on the...
Oh, on the main screen. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you got 2 Thunderbreakers, that's why. I see. You like it so much, you made 2 Thunderbreakers.
No, I didn't make 2 Thunderbreakers, I don't think. I think I just
Oh, is it older picture? I was gonna say, okay.
It might be an older picture.
Yeah, well, okay, it's the same name, yeah.
I loved my Phantom. I thought it was the best class when it came out. I was gonna main it. He was my first 200 I ever got on the account. But they're so bad right now. They don't get any buffs, and they're just the worst.
Yeah, they're overly careful with Phantom and with Xenon. Like classes that take aspects from multiple other classes, they want to be super duper careful that it doesn't grow overpowered. In the past, they've missed the ball on that balancing quite a few times, and they don't want to do that again. So now they're like overly cautious, and probably keeping them on too short of a leash, honestly.
It's a shame because they're the best class. If they could just give passives to Phantoms, or if they could just give us if we could just steal Shadow Partner, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy.
Even if it was only like 30% final damage or something. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a good idea, I think.
But my goal is just to get to 250. And then start doing other bosses that I've never been able to do, and then try and get my characters all to level 200, which would be the next step. Get AK Legion.
Okay.
I've made some progressions since those pictures that I've updated.
Yep.
I just didn't want to add them all to paint again.
Yeah, for sure.
But my Adele's level 200, my Shade's level 200.
Oh, Shade also. Okay.
Who else did I get to 200? I got 3 more characters up to 200.
Okay, so you're working hard.
And then
at that.
with this whole bumper cars event, I'm gonna pretty much get I'm gonna try and get them all. I mean, it's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna try and get them all to level 200.
All is probably not possible. It's not that long of an event.
Probably not.
But maybe all into close to 170 or something. That'll already be huge.
Yeah. And then I think for the ignition, I'm debating whether I make a Wind Archer to 250 because I know that they're crazy bossers, and they're gonna get a really good mobbing skill. I mean, it's their full.
Yeah, they already use it now, but they're actually bringing it into first job so that you don't feel weird for using a second job skill mobbing when you're level 240.
Yeah. Or I would make a Dawn Warrior just because I know he would be stronger than my Wind Archer because of all the Legion that I have for strength.
Yeah, I remember that the member bonuses don't get multiplied by percentage stat, so you definitely feel a lot stronger early on, mainly, right? When the total amount of strength that you have isn't that big, so a final chunk of 400 is a huge deal. But the further you go, it's still a big deal, but it's only a big deal because it's more expensive to get that same amount of gain somewhere else, not necessarily because it makes a huge difference in your damage output. And like you said, eventually you're going to be at the point where you have all the classes and you got them all at level 200, so you're going to get the same kind of gains from your Legion for all your characters eventually.
Yeah. But isn't strength the highest that you because there's a lot more strength characters than
I think
any other
strength
characters.
or int
It's 680 is strength. You can get up to a total of 680 strength or something like that.
Something strength crazy. Is either the highest or the second. Strength and int are definitely up there because of the the amount of sheer amount of characters that have it as a bonus is high. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 8.5, I guess. And int is 8. Yeah, the only difference is Xenon, I guess. Xenon is a half that makes a difference. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and the other two have 6. Yeah. Yeah, so that's technically the highest. But again, like you only get to that point when you're already very far into your Legion building, right? All the other stuff, like the critical rate and critical damage and all that stuff is, I think, is way more important when you're building out your Legion. But yeah, you look at the bonus, you look at the size of the piece, and then you look at the rate, power, last, right? If it's like a wash, which one you pick.
Yeah. Question for you.
Yes.
Are we ever gonna get another vacuum pet in this ignition? Because I think that's my biggest struggle right now with progression is just mesos. I'm just not getting enough.
Yeah, I can't guarantee, of course, but I feel pretty confident that there probably is going to be at least one sale in ignition. Yeah, I mean that's when everyone comes back. That's when they can get to print a lot of money. It'd be weird. It'd be really weird if they didn't bring them back during ignition.
Yeah, because I missed it in the Destiny event. I just didn't buy it. I don't know why, but I need one badly because I would have.
Yeah, it's over before you know it. 2 weeks is you blink and 2 weeks is gone.
Yeah, it's a shame. Because like that's my biggest problem is that I'm not collecting any of the mesos that I'm like. That's
as a buck specifically, you're just flying through the map and your pets don't have any time to really be like, oh, this looks shiny, and then by that time they're already on the other side of the map. So it's like, well, never mind. Yeah. But a vac-pet will just suck that up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels pretty necessary for a buck, especially because of horizontal, right? If it's vertical, the plats might be a little bit closer, but if it's horizontal, then the distance is just too great. Yeah.
But I think that's my goal is to get to 250 on this guy, see how he is. If he's strong enough to like solo normal load Lomian, that'd be great without it being a 30-minute fight.
Solo normal?
Yeah, normal.
Oh yeah,
right.
No, should definitely,
normal and hard. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Normal or hard? Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd like to do hard. I don't know what the difference is between normal and hard. Like
it's like 30 times the HP.
I mean, but like drop wise, do you just get Abso gear?
Well, yeah, but by that time you don't need the Abso anymore. Usually, yeah, you have high star Abso or you have Arcane, so you don't need the Abso gear anymore. But the main thing is that the pitched boss stuff. So Lotus can drop the damaged Black Heart, which you can turn into a Black Heart, which is like a 20-day, for some reason, pitched heart, which you usually save for like very difficult boss solos or something like that, right? And can drop the Berserk, which is the face accessory, highest base stats in the game, pitched boss, very rare. And then Damien has the magic eye patch and the rune force shield, which of course that shield doesn't do anything for you, but it can look nice. But they'll drop like higher rates. At higher rates, they'll drop the other resources, right? So like the MVPs and stuff like that, and the soul shards and the orbs and all that. But yeah, orbs and the absolute gear themselves is pretty much useless at that point. It's more, it's more for the small chance of pitch. But of course, the crystal is more valuable, but they've got like 30 times the HP, so that makes them quite a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are like, oh, you can kill normal so fast, you should just do hard. And it's like, yeah, but if normal takes even a minute, 30 times the HP, you're at 30 minutes. You're at like a max length run immediately. So it takes a while to not need to find a party to do that. But yeah, I think normal Lotus and Damien solo, I mean, yeah, you just don't want it to take forever. I get that.
Yeah.
But
like I didn't even do I didn't even start soloing CRA until it took one burst. Like until I can get it down to like one burst, I just was always in a party and just was eating the
Buccaneer burst too, which is not the burstiest of bursts, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean you take off some chunks now, but you're still very DPM because of Lord of the Deep, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I stand up right next to him. I Urda Nova, stun them, pop all my buffs, and then just nuke them down, and then that's pretty much it. They're all dead.
I probably want to pop the buffs before you bind, actually, just to.
Really?
Well, if the buffs last longer than the bind, you don't want to be during the time of the boss is bound, and you can deal all the damage. You don't want to be spending that time buffing. So if the buffs, Like you pop terms and conditions, and then as soon as he appears next to you, bind, and then you can immediately be able to like, what do you do? Like you charge that big guy and then throw the 3 balls at him, kind of thing.
And doesn't Nova do stun longer the more damage it does, or something like that?
Technically, but you have to get into some really crazy amounts of damage before it actually has a significant impact on the time of the duration. All binds say that, but it's like up to double the length based on the... Yeah, but they're very heavily limited in how many lines of damage binds do usually, so that you can't hit them too hard, which basically means that at most you're going to get like 10.8 seconds out of it or something, because it's like a percentage more duration for every percentage of the boss's HP that you do with the skill. So it's like, you know, the bosses have like trillions of HP. Like binding them, like it's an insignificant percentage of their HP getting bound.
Yeah.
Mini clear hard lotus? Yeah, no, we're talking about normal lotus. Going for normal and then going to extreme. It should be like an extreme lotus and extreme Damien at this point with like higher drop pitched. I hope that they get into that next, because
it's common.
This is just a silly system.
Yeah.
The weight room is...
It has to come, because if the end game of 275 is just to clear like 1 or 2 bosses, it's kind of gets old. It kind of gets repetitive. Like I'm waiting a week to fight a boss once a week. And I know like end game is to get to 300, but that's years. That's
a bit away,
not something that could be achieved in a month of just grinding.
Oh no. In a decade, maybe. At this point, yeah, where people are going. Okay, so you want to slowly move forward, and so, but you do things mostly in a party, or do you kind of? I'm getting to feel like you're kind of getting carried, and then just doing grinding until you can go back to bosses and just nuke them. Is it generally kind of?
Well, I'm at the point where I can just solo everything now. So there's not really everything besides normal Lomian, but like it's like a 2-man party. Like I can do, I think I'm hitting like 4 or 5% every Octo Punch. So I'm clearing it. It's just Lotus, the whole beam thing is crazy to me. I just lose like 2 of my lives to that beam.
And could you, because you have some iframes, right?
One iframe, and it's my
Why don't you have 2? Like the big charge snake is 1, right? And then every single big ball you throw is also an iframe.
Yes. But I don't use the big ball. I don't use the snake yet. The big snake head, yes. But the ball charges, it's like I have to time it perfectly. It's only when I'm in the air, and it's like a millisecond.
Can't you... So I'm not on that level familiar with Buccaneer, but can't you like throw a ball and then do your dash like right after to dash through the laser and to like carry that iframe with you? Or is it too narrow of a window?
It's really narrow, especially when the laser's moving. It maybe if like the laser's moving fast, possibly. But if it's moving like at that normal speed, it's just too slow.
Is it a thing that the dash for the buck, does it count as a, or you know, the 5th job, right, with the charges? Does that count as a dash or does it count as a teleport? And is it different when you're in the air or when you're on the ground?
I think it's a teleport. I think it's a teleport-esque. But
if it's teleport, you should be able to use that to get through the laser.
Yeah. I just don't use that yet. I don't. Next level, I'll add it to my V matrix. But that's another thing.
Because that's the main thing. Like every class, pretty much every class has like something they can use to get through the laser.
Yeah.
And once you have found that thing that you can do to move through the laser, then the whole boss fight for Lotus becomes infinitely more simple. Because having to move around, it is a good practice though, moving around and having to time where, looking at the debris, timing when the robots are coming, not going up too early so that you get stuck up there and then get stunned by something, not going too late so that you might still fall down from getting stunned by a robot. Working on your timing there is also pretty important, and you have the benefit that with Lord of the Deep floating around you, that you will be able to get rid of some of those robots without actively having to go out of your way to attack them. So you already have that as a little bit of a benefit. But it is good to practice that as well. But if you don't have to, you don't have to, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where Buccaneer is. That's
Surprised he's not on the first page. He's like the best.
yeah, this is not a good look. Oh, here. Scardor Buck. There you go. With the big old Figzolab weapon. Figzo brother. Iframe lasts longer than the animation, literally free. Because that's what I'm thinking, is a lot of times, even when the animation of an iframe isn't that long, what happens a lot of the times is that you're still immune for like a full second or even more than that, like after the skill is already over. And you can simply just walk through the laser and you'll see like the electricity effect on you of the laser, but you just won't take any damage.
Yeah.
So same thing for the Cannoneer, for example. Like I'll have to charge my iframe on one side of the map, and then I'll get hit with a laser while I'm charging it, but I'm just not taking damage. And then I can flash jump through the next laser, go to the other side, and all of that just doesn't deal any damage to me as long as I perform the charge up properly.
Yeah.
Serpent Vortex, that's on V. So this is, well, we can, you said you didn't reskill, so let's do that. As I work on your accurate charges, upwards and downwards, yeah, because it's like diagonal, right? So I don't know if that is the deal. I guess people in chat were saying that you try to use the big ball.
Yeah, so the big
points.
snake head is definitely an iframe that'll pass through, but I think the ball, like the ball is very short. You're only in the air for a second, so.
And does it say on the skills lightning form, 3 orbs, orange is unaffected by you're invincible while creating the orb. Yeah. So I don't know if it's a matter of do you press the button again to fire the orb? Yeah, right?
Yeah, so you press it and it'll.
God, I don't have any of my.
I'll do it real quick. Before
I
you
don't have any of my skills. Destiny, why did you do it to me? HP boost? Why do I have this?
So the first one activates it, and then the second one, the third one, and the
yeah. Then it shows up 3, right? Then it shows up like 3 charges.
Yeah, but you can click the charges all separately. Like you can wait like 10 seconds before you hit the next one.
Yeah, and we don't have to do the thing where you do the little lightning dude in the air and then get the critical damage stacks, right? That shit's gone.
Yeah.
You're like, that doesn't ring any bells, so that's probably
I
gone.
don't know. I have no idea. Say yes.
There was like a hyper skill. I think it was a hyper skill that you had to like keep pressing to get your critical damage. You had to like build stacks on that. But I was back with the whole energy system. Let's go for that 18. Yo, thank you, Lynn. Okay, I've got wind booster. That should do it.
Well, you need hook bomber.
Listen, dude, I'm just going in for the memes, okay? I'm not in the party, okay?
Go ahead.
So we need to nope, that's regular. Okay, whatever. We need to confirm that you can't just dash through it, which I think, you know, by the time... The reason that the chat didn't say anything is probably that that's not possible, okay? I don't have my regular attack. I don't have any damage. That might be a little bit, yikes. Okay, I'm just gonna walk out of all of that. These robots are kind of fucked. So like you throw the ball and then you're just immune for a little bit like that.
Oh.
And I might be able to do a double pass. Let's see if I do ball and then double flash jump. Yeah, see, and then you can go all the way through to the other side. So that gives you like a double window. So you're definitely immune way longer than it looks like you are.
But the vortex is not. You're not immune.
No. See, with these robots, like I approach them and then I let them explode, but then they explode away from me, and then I don't actually take the effect from them. Yeah, see, so I can actually double jump all the way through to the other side, just with one little bomb.
Huh.
So that should give you a lot more space to work with. But yeah, the vortex definitely just ins you. So that's not a teleport. That would count as a dash, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a very important distinction. Oh, here also, like if you're, for all the newer people starting with Lotus, there's what I call like an early switch and a late switch. Right, I'm trying to detonate all these guys without really getting hit by their effects. See, only one guy got me, now I got chain stunned, but... So here you want to try to dodge the debris. And if you can, you want to go for an early switch here, boom. Which allows you to go underneath the laser, and it minimizes the amount of time that you're stuck up there and have no way to go, basically. So here by positioning and moving in a pattern where you're like approaching and then distancing again, you don't really get affected by the stuff that they do. And you don't spend too much time up there. Because if you do what I would call a late switch up there, then you have more chances of getting stuck.
Not know that. Did not know that.
So I'm trying to jump out of the radius of the robot here. Like, see, now I'm getting fucked because I have to dodge those things, and then you can die there more easily.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know what the iframe is exactly on this guy. It's like when you fire it, right? Yeah, and then you could walk through one extra time. And it's really not until you're in this phase for quite a while that the laser tends to speed up.
Yeah. But that's the only iframe that I've been using, was just the snake head. That's it.
Yeah, so I would use the balls in phase 1, because if you can get through the first phase without losing too many lives, the second phase should very quickly get to the point where you don't lose any lives anymore. And then the third phase is where you want to have all of your lives and all of the time in the world, right? You don't want to put too much pressure on that third phase by already losing 1 or 2 lives in the first one, because then it just stresses you out. At least for me, that does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the lightning. You have the teleport as well. Yeah, you do have a teleport, right? When you go into
Oh yes, yes.
Is
So if
that
I use
lightning
it,
form?
I can. But it's. I think, is it a teleport or is it a dash?
I think. Hang on, let me try.
Because it looks like a dash.
Can I
It doesn't
see?
look like a teleport.
Can I see my skill animations? Because I did not look shiny enough. I did not look nearly shiny enough there. Can't you do like?
So now just double.
I think you have
press
to.
the left or
I think you have to jump for that.
Yeah.
It's
it
probably.
doesn't work. The dash.
Oh, you lose it because I know it's on cooldown, bro. Let me just. My hair is getting chopped off. I think it might be one of those skills where if you jump and do it, that you teleport, but if you're on the ground, it's a dash. Serpent Vortex works? No, it doesn't. Well, I think Serpent Vortex is one of those skills where they change it in Ignition. I hope that Serpent Vortex gets the same change as the Torrent did for Pathfinder, where basically because the teleport is so long, there's like a hitbox somewhere in the middle, and then that kills you on the laser. But if you're like very close to it or far away from it, like if the laser is like here, or the laser's like here, then you survive. But if the laser's there, you get killed because there's like a hitbox in the middle. Vortex was the same for Torrent. Sorry, was the same for Pathfinders. But they changed it so that the whole thing is now one teleport. I don't know if they're going to do the same thing for Vortex and Ignition. I'm missing that piece of knowledge 100%. But if Penguesta says Serpent Vortex works, it might be that it's the same as like where it has some hitboxes, some doesn't. Because of course I tried it and then died. So. But it might be a matter of, just going in practice mode and just trying a bunch of things and just seeing what works and see what you can reliably reproduce. I'm going to see if I'm very close. Nah, it doesn't work. And it might be that it changes in Ignition. If it becomes a teleport, that could be pretty useful. But yeah, there are options. You know, at least if you're iframe, you could put your iframe to good use.
Yeah, there's always options.
Uh-huh.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Tyrant Cloak
versus
Abso Cloak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it truly depends on how far you're planning to upgrade, but a Tyrant, so if the Tyrant is like this, I'd probably say, I'd probably just work towards the Abso and just wear that. But there are definitely some situations where people have like a pretty good flame on it, and they've maybe already gotten epic or unique potential on it. And then if you just throw like a star or two on it, then you could just bypass the whole Abso thing. But if you're completely in the beginning stages and your flame is like okay, but not like that great, then I would just work towards the Abso K, but just complete the set basically.
Got it. Now, is the Abso set better? Like the armor, is that better than the Fafnir armor? Is the overall better than the 2-piece legs and shirt?
No, it's like never.
Okay.
Just because of the accessibility and because you have double the lines of potential, double the amount of bonus stats because of Star Force, and double the flames. Right? It's just
Yeah.
the set bonus itself just never overcomes that. So much so that CRA is just like top bottom combination, just best in slot all the way up until you're killing Kalos,
Yeah.
and then it just goes into another top and bottom combination.
So. Okay, so my next step is to just get the Apso cape, which will be which would be tomorrow or today, later today.
Okay.
Because I think I have one more. Right? Do I have one? Oh, I have no coins. Okay, so I have to. Actually, no, I have one coin. Okay, so I have one coin. I'll get the cape today at around 8 o'clock. Arcane weapons. Should I not even be focusing on getting an Apso? Because right now what I'm doing is, and I wish I could just share my screen, but I bought another Apso weapon, right?
Yeah.
Not the Destiny one that they gave you, but I got it to 16 stars. And I got a nice. I'm working on getting it to legendary because I thought that would be better instantly. If I get 2 lines of attack, it's just gonna boost my attack by like 1,000,000.
Yeah. Or multiple millions, yeah.
Or multiple millions versus the whole 9% damage they give you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or should I just
non-bosses for sure.
forget it?
Yeah.
Or should I just forget it and just try and go for arcane at this point? Like, what's?
It truly depends on pace. So someone who is playing a lot, someone who's getting carried and has access to those bosses quickly, maybe even already like limping into hard lucid runs here and there and has a chance for a box. To someone like that, I would say you definitely don't have a need to make like a full regular Abzo. But someone who's trying to kind of more make their own way there and is like in struggle parties and is like barely, starting to enter normal lucid, maybe only has done like 1 or 2 runs, you definitely get enough mileage out of your Abzo to make one. And if you've already bought one, then I would definitely like go into it, especially if you're already like partially part of the way there to upgrade it. I would definitely continue with that. But it depends on how quickly you're moving through the phases, basically. There's no wrong answer there, but it has to just fit your profile of how you play.
Okay.
So like you said, right, that your guild helps you sometimes and stuff, but it doesn't seem like you have a direct
it's more me
line
just
all the time.
Let me check my guild right now. Yeah, there's only the highest level in the guild I believe is he's a 260. So I don't know how strong he is, but he's barely on.
Yeah, that could be someone who grinds his ass off and has like the same stat as you, or it could be someone who barely plays but is like double your stat. Like there's a pretty wide range, like 260 level wise. It can say a lot or it can say nothing. It really depends. Some people get to 275 on like barely 30k stat, just grinding it out.
That's wild because I don't know if I'm like over, like I have a lot of percentage of stat, but almost 22%. I'm at 21.2 K stat, and I think that's like I think I'm overhitting right now. That might not be fully buffed up, but I'm at 21,177, and I'm just chilling right now. I'm not even. There's no Maple Warrior or anything like that.
It depends on where your stat comes from. So you could go. Some people early on, there are people with some, what I would almost call inflated stats. Is mostly if you have like very good potentials, but your Star Force is low, you can kind of like artificially get your stats high. But if you're like 21k stat, and you are like 17 star everything with like epic potentials, you're stronger than if you're 21k stat with like legendary potentials and you're like 12 stars. Because the extra stars give you a lot of weapon attacks. Even though your stats the same, your damage output is going to be wildly different because it's coming from different sources.
Yeah. And I still have a lot of legendary equips, or unique equips. I don't even have a ton of legendary yet.
I would say compared to your Star Force, you have more legendary than I would expect. Because like the CRA already being like legendary and 2 line, but still being 11 or 12 stars, or 12 stars, is usually like
they're all 16. During that 15, I got them all up to 16. So.
Yeah. Okay.
little bit stronger. But
And the Abzos as well, right? You got those all to 16 as well?
no, ran out of money.
Oh, right. Okay. It happens.
Ran out of money. I only get like 2 bill a week, and that's just from bossing. So that's all I'm working with. I'm waiting for a vac pet. I pray that Nexon just releases another vac pet, and then I'll have a lot more money. But like, I don't even want to buy the double Meso coupons from the Legion shop because I know I'm just gonna waste half of the Mesos that drop.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I mean, you're still heavily working on Legion, right? So you need those coins to rank that up anyway. So it's not like you're banking on 10,000 coins and not using them or anything. It's they're being put to work anyway.
Another thing about that is how long. Like, I looked at your chart because I know you have a Legion chart, but is there a so like my Legion power, right? It's 135 right now. Okay, 135 million or 137 million. Is there a rate of coin progression? Like, the higher it is, like, I get more coins per hour or whatever. Like, based off of my Legion raid power. So like, how much would be that next tier up? Like, how far away am I from that next tier up?
Oh, it's just constant damage. So like, when you put your characters in the board, those characters are like fighting the dragon in the background, right? Where you click like start raid when you see them. That's constantly happening in the background. So in a way, when you enter it, you're actually taking your own character that's most likely in the raid. You're taking that character out of the raid. So you're actually one character down, but you can do more damage yourself to like the yellow shield part, right? That's why it's important as soon as you're done with your dailies that you go out again, because then your passive character can start dealing damage to the pink bar again. But your raid power, that's your damage per second. So yeah, that goes through continuously, damage per second, and then for every 100 billion, you see that when you're in the raid, right? You see that part of the damage that's like golden. That's like the amount of coins that you earn. So as that Legion raid power goes up, your passive income for coins goes up. So yeah, if you want to know the numbers, you can like multiply it by, it's per second, so you can multiply it by 3600 and then by 24 and then divide it by 100 billion, whatever that number is, and that's how many coins you make per day. I guess we can just, what is it, 3600 times 24 divided by 100 bill. It's 100 mil, it's 100 bill. I mean, it's that, but it's a little bit of a weird number. If you multiply that by 132,200,497, you should get something like 114 coins passive per day. And then from your dailies around another 30, so 144 a day.
Got it. So there really is no way to I just have to get all my characters to 200.
Yeah, so every single upgrade, so that's Legion, the character level and their Star Force. Those are the two things that increases their Legion raid power. But I would say early on, definitely just fully focus on the levels. Yeah, levels are very much more efficient at least until like 200, and then when you're at 200 and you really have like full 8k Legion, then you can look at 1+1 events, for example, or no boom rooms. Those are ideal events to like if the characters have gotten some accessories by then. And some just more equips, right? If you open up the equip window, it's not like 3 things in there, but it's it has actually some equips to get like a little bit of Star Force on everything. Try to get at least all of them up to like 120 is a good amount. 120 or 180. There's like some benchmarks where if you hit that number of Star Force, then all of your Star Force retroactively becomes like a little bit more efficient for raid power. Yeah. As far as I know, it's like 60, 120, 180, and then I think 240, and then 280 or like 230. Like the intervals get a little bit smaller, of course, because it's harder and harder to get extra Star Force up there. But yeah, your raid power is definitely way more affected by your levels early on. So just grinding out and getting that 8k will also see your Legion raid power go up quite a lot, because all the characters on the board are going to be higher level. And then you can start slamming in some Star Force later to kind of take those easy gains at that point.
Yeah.
Then you get to like 600 million like me. Yay.
Yeah, I wish.
And even then, if you're actively training and doing your totems, you're still in a deficit for for coins. So
don't you have like 17k coins?
70k coins, yeah. I had 130k though. When I was not really doing my totems, and then I started actually doing my totems, and now I'm already down 60k, so
wow.
Yeah, what looks like an insurmountable amount of coins that can Scrooge McDuck jumping into the pile of coins kind of thing, you definitely, yeah, if you're actively playing the game, you definitely dip into those hardcore.
I thought it was gonna be so easy. Because I saw your Legion coins and I was like, okay, he's 17k. So if I get 17k, I can just get all my characters from 140 to 170 through the potions, and I'll just blast through all those coins with potions and get them everything up to 170.
Yeah, I have done that a lot though. So if you add all of that up, that's a lot of coins combined. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just realized it's faster to just level.
Mm-hmm.
A lot faster.
I mean, yeah, you could think about, like, when I'm at 5 times your raid power, so a little bit over 500, so I'm like at like 550 coins a day. I mean, if you're doing one totem, just with Legion coupons, that's already like 280. So if you're doing, yeah, a totem every other day, but you're using 2 types of coupons, that's half of your coins immediately gone. And then if you ever buy some flames somewhere or something, then you're in the hole. I buy some Eternals from high level gear, boom, done. So you don't even have that luxury as much.
Yeah.
At least I don't have to buy a rank up every week now. That's quieted down a little bit past 9.2k, thank God.
Yeah, I don't have to. I mean, I'm working on the 6500 right now, and they're asking for 1,000 coins.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. It's gonna take me like a week and a half to get that.
Yeah, I forgot mine. I think mine is like 3.
But when's the next jump? Is that 7,500 is when I can add another 5 characters to the board?
Yeah, 75 to 8, yeah. So once you hit 8k, that's why that's such a big threshold to hit. Not because the symbol looks way cooler, but it's because you get to put 5 extra characters on, yeah. It's basically every jump after a multiple of 2.5k. So it's like 2.5 to 3, 5 to 5.5, and then 7.5 to 8. But sadly, not 10 to 10.5. 10 to 10.5 is also just 1 extra character, so that's wildly non-valuable. It's really just one character.
And how many characters can you add to your Legion, to the bottom part of your Legion? Is it 42 that count towards your total level? Or is it just as many characters?
Yeah, no, 42. So if you hover over your Legion on the top right, where it says your level, it'll say among the characters you have within the world, up to 42 are added to the accumulated level. However, only characters that are 60 plus and have completed second job advancement are applied, and for 0 characters, only 1 character with the highest level is applied.
Got it. So I still have 1 whole character to make. Oh.
Yep. Next character that hits level 60 immediately will get you the levels. Yeah,
what are your thoughts on Dark Knight?
Well, so I recently did Project CRA on it. Granted that the funding I did for it was done over a year ago, and the power creep with Destiny and everything has definitely elevated it to another level. I was just getting myself situated with it, but even within that, I was able to do all of the CRA bosses without any fails pretty comfortably. Having the flexibility with the iframe now that you can choose, like, do I want a short duration one that is up all the time? Do I want a slightly longer duration? You can really kind of evolve with the function and the strength of the character to be like, okay, now, I can't just one burst this Papalatus in like a giant iframe. That just doesn't work. So I'm going to take the other iframe that's like a shorter duration, and then it gives you survivability throughout a longer boss fight instead. And then as you slowly get stronger, you can maybe switch to the other iframe, and it's like, and then when you ultimately get strong enough, it's like now I could just go in, pick the long iframe, and just nuke the whole thing and just immune like all of the boss mechanics, So depending on how strong you are, you can find like the right type of iframe that complements your level of skill and your level of comfort that you need to be able to kill the boss properly. So that's really cool. Other than that, I mean, I love that spear. It just, you're standing on top of your target, you just do so much damage with it. Very short cooldown, decreased incoming damage as well when you're summoning it. That's really cool. That Beholder just does a lot of damage, a lot of buffs going on, and you have very high crit rate and IED, which is very solid for any character to have, honestly. I'm very happy with that rework.
I think Mihail and Dark Knight and Ilium, Kane, and Cadena are the only characters, and Beast Tamer. I didn't make one. I don't know why I didn't make one when it was available just to have there. But those are the only like 5 characters that I don't have. but I
But there's-
really hate Ilium. I can't stand his way of attacking.
Something
it's-
else. You probably
it's
still
just-
have 2
it's-
characters you can make, by the way, because the lab block counts for one as well, but it doesn't count for a character on the board when you put it. So you'd probably be able to add 2 more characters.
Oh.
And you're probably missing 9 characters, right? If it says 41, we have 49 classes.
Fire Poison, Cadena, Blaster. Yeah.
Blaster, and you said what? Mihail, Ilium.
Mihail, Ilium. I could just check real quick.
You have a paladin, right? Yeah.
Alright, so I have a Paladin. The only thing I'm missing is...
Kaiser? Do you have that?
Kaiser,
Oh,
I
here.
have that.
Yeah, down here.
Dark Knight. Oh, Marksman. Don't have a Marksman.
Ooh, that crit rate though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need it.
No, that's true.
I don't need it. I only need 80% crit rate for bossing on my Buccaneer.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Free 20.
It's really nice. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, all my other characters like struggle, but it's fine. It's whatever. As long as my Buccaneer.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's why it's
successful.
so high up on the list. Maybe your main doesn't need it, but all the other characters that you're leveling will be able to put it to good use and then get to 200 faster, and then they'll circle back to like a bigger legion, higher member bonus, and higher link skills. That'll help your main again in return. So it's a little bit of a roundabout way, a little bit of a workaround, but eventually it does come back to give you that value.
Yeah. But out of all the characters that I don't have, what are your so Mihail?
Yeah.
Are they going to be good bossers in Ignition?
I
Or
think
are
they
they
already
gonna
are.
be-
So
Are
the
they?
thing with when you say good bossers, it kind of implies like which bosses. So if you're just trying to do like CRA and like stuff around there, like say like HMAG and everything below, basically any character can do that very well, just because of how overpowered as fuck 5th job skills are. Like just the power injection in any class as soon as you unlock 5th job is so insane that people can solo everything around that level. Now, that's not to say that you just gain 5 or 10 levels beyond that, and then you can just do Lotus and Damien as well. That definitely takes a lot of investment. And then some classes will have a kit very easily catered towards being able to do that, and then other classes will struggle a little bit. But then if you super duper duper fun past that point and you get into like, hyper burning, you get into level 250 area, then you can definitely do everything that's like slime and below again. Because you're just kind of like overtuned for that, and as long as you have gear that even like somewhat matches and funding that somewhat matches that level, then you'll be able to do everything below that. But it's really once you go past that point and you're trying to get to like like hard lucid, hard will kind of stuff, soloing can become very class dependent at that point, and specifically if you take more support type classes, you'll just have a bit of a harder time like nuking some bosses specifically in solo. But even in a small party, you'll already be very, very valuable. Like in Mihail will keep the party alive. And if the party does need to be kept alive, he can just cancel his shield to give himself final damage instead and just slap everything. Like a Shade can do a whole lot right now, is going to get nerfed in the future, thank God, because they're in a really too good of a spot right now. But they are also very supportive, have the bind of the split, can do a lot of debuffs on targets, so you can get a lot of bonus damage there. Same thing with like a Paladin, can do things solo, but of course is very good for a duo that you can link up with someone else, give them Sacrosanctity, give each other a bunch of final damage, so they can do stuff very easily early on, just because 5th job is OP. Then they fall off a little bit until you just get settled into your level, but then the further you get, the closer you get to late game and end game, basically, the more is going to be demanded party synergy out of boss fights. And if you don't have that, it's just going to be a little bit on the down foot. Not impossible, but not optimal.
I'm thinking for my Ignition between the Wind Archer, the Dawn Warrior, and the Mihail. However, like, I wish it would benefit my Legion. Like, the only one that would benefit my Legion would be the Wind Archer.
The Dawn Warrior gives
because I could
HP, right? Yeah, so it doesn't really...
Yeah, the Dawn Warrior is useless, and the Mihail gives what? Isn't it just like
HP
defense?
as well.
Oh, HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
As a Demon Avenger, I loved those guys earlier.
Yeah.
Even though maybe I shouldn't have. Apparently the scaling is very bad on all HP related things, but... I mean, I think ultimately it just comes down to the playstyle. Like, which playstyle would you enjoy? Which character do you think you would enjoy the most logging into and having fun playing? Because you're gonna have so many things to do. You always have so many things to do. I have a bunch of boss mules as well, where I'm like, man, I could just log in and make billions there, but I'm not really feeling the drive to log in. Like none of them really, like, they're okay to play in the moment, but they don't really invite me to like log in and play them. It's just like something missing there. Maybe there's some other stuff that I like doing more, and you're just gonna gravitate towards that. But I will say, like, the classes look very different, so definitely look up some footage, some gameplay footage maybe from Korea for those classes, just to see how they play. Yeah, because that could be different enough. Like, Wind Archer is very good with that crystal, right? You have like a lightning rod that the boss walks towards. So if you are a player that is maybe, you know, a little bit lower on hands or something, or you just don't want to overcomplicate things for yourself, something like a puppet skill could be a very good move there, because you could take a lot of pressure off of you and off of having to be completely exact with all the boss mechanics. And it could be more of a, you know, walk in, kill the thing, walk out kind of deal. Especially if you're not, like, juggling too many large cooldowns and that kind of stuff. Which Wind Archer is more of a DPM character.
Wind Archer's pretty brain dead.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit more burst, which is also nice, because then you get to actually experience what that is like as a Wind Archer. So this is what bursting is, yeah. This is what everyone's been doing for the last 6 years. But yeah, they do have a different level of complexity in different situations for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, I mean, I've only played Mihail once, and I think it was before because they changed their skills around like 4 times, didn't they?
Yeah, the problem was with like Liberation that Mihail just didn't have the damage output or the lines to be able to liberate, so they really had to move around where their damage comes from and how their skills work to make sure that they could even liberate, because it was just mathematically impossible. And in that they became much more self-sufficient, and especially that big change to that shield, right? Like, you need survivability or not, and then you get a whole bunch of final damage immediately, and then you get some nice juicy burst out of that. Yeah, they moved a lot of stuff around. And even if you read all the skills, you kind of just like have to use them and see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah, I have to like just get a feel. I mean, it's been nice to get all my characters up to 140 because I know who I like and who I don't like. Like Jet was a lot. Like Jet is really quick. I love how fast Jet's animations are.
Oh yeah, that's probably the closest in mobility to Buck actually. Jet zooms.
Thunderbreaker was good. Xenon was amazing. Dual Blader I like, but his mobbing is just god awful.
It depends on which stage of the game, right? It benefits a lot from cooldown reduction on the hat, because you've got 2 really big, relatively short cooldown 5th job skills, and once you get cooldown reduction on the hat, you can use those a lot more. And like in the beginning, when Cernium and Burnium and that stuff was just coming out, people would switch into Dual Blade actually to be able to kill there properly, because you just have this giant AoEs that just nuke everything, compared to, you know, Assassin's Marks, which weren't barely tickling these monsters at that level, right? When we're just getting in there. And even just the showdown itself, having trouble killing the bosses. But like these giant 5th job AoEs were having a very easy time killing those monsters. Together with Hayatos, they were like among the first classes that were actually able to go into Hotel Arcus and actually kill the monsters there, which was, you can imagine back then, huge, because nobody could train there. So all the maps level 10 burn all the time. Complete free reign, so that was a Dual Blade's playground. Of course now everyone's over there, you know, more sacred power, more power creep. But they definitely do have their strengths, but in general, yeah, the length of the cooldowns is the main problem. They got a little bit bigger hitbox now with their main mobbing skill at least, and they've got that extra 5th job, you know, the 4th fee that flies around and kills some extra things. Yeah. But yeah, depending on the situation, they're definitely not on top of the league when it comes to EXP.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what's to come. I don't know what. I mean, I still have 2 more classes to make. I'm thinking I'm gonna make a Dark Knight just to get him up to level. But his Legion is HP too, isn't it?
Yeah, HP %. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's better. That's better than HP.
Barely, right? Because in the end
barely.
game, everything does percentage anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's you're gonna DA, man. DA main when? Wait, you don't have a DA, I think, or do you?
I have a DA. I can't.
Where is it?
I don't have the will.
Oh, here, 140.
Yeah. I don't have the will. You know how hard it was to get him up to 140? I don't have the will to get him to 200. It is the because I know as soon as I get him to 200, I'm probably gonna fall in love with him because he has like a Lord of the Deep skill.
Yep.
But just that 60 levels of just grinding.
Oh yeah. Get those shields out, baby. Nether shields. Hell yeah. Lunar Slash. Overload release. Just keep spamming it. Yeah. Those 3 skills. They'll get you there. 1,000 swords maybe sometimes, and then you're good.
Those 3, that 1 mobbing skill.
Yeah, you love that Lunar Slash, don't you?
Yeah.
Just keep spinning.
That's a class. That is a class that needs an entire new skill set. 100%.
Yeah. We've got like 3 skills that you never use, like Vitality Veil, Shield Rush, and the bat. The bats does 1 line of damage in 2022. I can't even imagine. Like the first job mobbing skill of every single class is like 4 lines, but somehow we have like a single line damage skin bats that just does nothing. Make it a passive or give it lines, like do something with it, but
yeah,
I don't know. Soon TM, you know. they'll get to it.
Soon, yeah. Yeah, soon.
They'll get around
2025.
I mean, to be fair, they overtuned this on a bunch of other stuff, so now they're raking us back in on the top damage output with Revenant getting nerfed to 2 minutes and the final damage multiplier max taking down 20% on Frenzy, so our peak damage definitely took a big hit.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if the mobbing could use a little bit more utility.
Now, is their Lord of the Deep skill as big as the Buccaneers, or is it like a smaller iframe, like a smaller frame?
Yeah, it's about the same, but it gives you but it does other things, right? Like it deals damage to you. It's a pure toggle, so it's like a half a second toggle, so you can just turn on off. Turning it on though consumes 30% HP. And while you're in it, you take 30% less damage from all percentage-based attacks, but you take 6,000 damage per second, and you cannot heal from healing sources for more than 1% HP, with only a few exceptions. So like Overload Release and Blast only heals you 1% of your HP per tick. So you have to, the amount of ticks of damage that you put out for lifesteal has to be an insane amount to like overcome the amount of self-damage that you're constantly doing.
Well, you are the greatest salesperson on the planet for not.
But you gain final damage based on how much lower your HP is as well, right? That's the counter, and it deals a fuck ton of damage. Like it's 3 lines of damage continuous. I don't know if you saw my last video of Hard Lotus.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, you and 5,000 other people did. I didn't know there were that many people who wanted to see that, but yeah, there were a lot of people in chat like last few days like, should I hyperburn a DA? It looks kind of good. It's like, you know, you put like 56k stat equivalent in any class, and you get a decent run. It's always gonna look decent, right? So
yeah,
that's the whole thing I want to get to is like all the classes are like highly playable, but you know,
I thought my paladin was lifestyle, work every single day. I thought my paladin was gonna be my next main when the Terra burning event happened, but their Lord of the Deep skill, the hammers that circle you, I love that it's like horizontal instead of vertical instead of horizontal. But it doesn't last long. It's like 10 seconds.
It's
you literally jump through the map once and it's gone.
I think isn't it like 30 seconds on a minute cooldown?
I'm just
half uptime.
Exaggerating.
Yeah. Well, it used to do like a little bit of damage as well if you had the little hammers, but they took that out. Yeah. That's what she said. Nice. It was a little bit disappointing. Didn't last long enough.
No.
Only half a minute every minute, yeah. Doesn't quite get you there.
No.
The hammer might be big, but if it doesn't swing the right way. No. Yeah, I mean, and that's why it's a good idea to just try out the classes and just see if it fits you, because it could look great on paper, and maybe you see a video and that looks amazing, but you try it and it's just not for you, and that's fine too, you know?
Yeah, I love... You should make a account progression guide. Like, you should, on a YouTube series, like, because I know you're huge on the YouTube videos, but you should just make a new account and just do a whole progression for the ignition, and that would get a ton of views, 100%. Because I love watching them. I watched like this one guy. I've watched his videos like 3 times because like I follow it with my character too, and I'm like, okay, this guy's doing this. I should be doing this too.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I don't do that. I don't want people to just like copy. Because I feel like
why not?
Because I feel like
it's helpful.
Because I want to
like,
learn from other people, and if other people just copy me, then I can't learn from them because they're just like little me's.
Yeah, but you're like,
right?
You're like top 3 Maplers in MapleStory right now.
Okay.
So like,
yeah. Well, yeah, but if everyone copies what I do, then I can't learn, right? Because everyone's just looking like pause champing over for me. Like, let's look what he does next, so we can do that too. I want to just say like, hey, here's like the general, here are some big mistakes, and I don't want you to make those. And here's like a general benchmark of like, you want to be around this level of strength, and then you can do this kind of content, and then you go do you. And then my hope is that it creates space for people to fail and to try things. And out of failure and out of attempts come new information that can hopefully lead back to me, and then we can give even more information to people. But, I don't want it to be. It feels like me like it's going to be restrictive.
It's a video game. How many times do you want? Like, how many times do you want to play Halo?
It's a video
3
game,
Legendary,
and I think the video game should be fun
before you give up on it.
For me, fun is not really knowing what I'm in for and just trying and like failing miserably, and then like figuring some stuff out on my own. That's really fun for me. Yeah. And if I would be a gamer and like waking up in these days, it'd be really weird because now you're just like, oh, you got stuck for like 3 seconds, you just look it up online and move forward. That feels so weird. Like I remember being stuck in like fucking Legend of Zelda, like in a room for like 3 days until I figured out you could take out a stick and walk through a torch and light it on fire and light another torch on fire and the door would open. Like that shit took me 3 days to figure out, but I'll never forget that anymore.
Yeah, I get that,
right?
But it took you 3 days to learn. Imagine sitting in a room playing Legend of Zelda for 3 days.
I would give my right nut to go back to that time to be able to just have so few cares in the world that's like what occupied my days. You know how good I felt when that stick lit on fire? I was like, holy shit. Because I was just trying everything. I was like throwing Deku seeds around, just like blinding myself. And I was just walking around with the stick, just running in circles, like just not knowing what to do. And I accidentally walked through the torch and the shit went on fire. I'm like, holy shit, this is new. What do I do with this? And then, of course, the first stick like burns to a crisp because you leave it on fire for too long. Because that was already built into the game. You're like, oh shit, take another stick, you know? That
my whole logic on it, though, is like, for people who don't have time to play this game for hours on end.
But then you don't play an MMO. Like, it's just not for you, bro. MMOs are not for the people who have limited time available.
But here's the thing. I want them to be. I love this. This is my child. This game is my child.
No, I get
this
that. This
is like everything.
My problem is,
and I always end up coming back to it.
If you try to speedrun a game that has no finish, your engagement with the medium is so different than what kind of like the intent is. You get a group of people who has like certain criticisms of the game, which are valid for their experience, but their experience is not like the intended path through the game. And if you then cater to that experience, you lose the value that the other group of people is trying to get out of the game. Does that make sense? Like if you
not necessarily
try to get,
I mean, I didn't
Right?
realize
You could.
You could, but it didn't take. It took me watching one of your videos to realize how important Legion was for me to bust out 40 characters to 140.
Yeah.
So like, if I didn't realize, if I didn't watch your video and be like, oh, this is what this guy is doing, I need to do this, I would have still had like 1,300 Legion. I would have been like, oh fuck, I only have like 6 characters on my account. You know, they're my main 6 characters. You know.
Well, that's why I have the progression grid, right? Like it roughly outlines like, hey, this is a good thing to spend your time on because these are the things that give you damage. And then as long as you're like roughly near those metrics, then you're at the right point. The problem is with like giving exact points of like you want to do this exactly, work on this exact thing. So I think it stifles innovation, which I think is that might be overblown on my side, but I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to stifle innovation from other people's end. I want people to experiment and come up with stuff that I could have never thought about. And the second thing is that the more exact you are, the more class differences start coming in. And therefore, the more exact you are, the less accurate it might be for a people's specific situation. And the third thing is, as balance changes and updates happen, the more you'll have to constantly tweak it to the changes that are happening.
Yeah.
And those feel like weaknesses that I don't have with this as much. The only thing I have to do is like level cap goes up or insane power creep happens, then I have to tweak some numbers. That's basically it. And then all you have left is like an engagement with like, oh, are those the exact lines, you know, should they be somewhere else? Are the margins a little bit too wide? Sure, but like, are you going to make 16 stages? Then it gets too exact again, and then you fall back into number 2, right? Where now class differences is huge, and then people are like, well, now it's even less accurate. Like, the more vague you are, like if I just have, you know, the beginning numbers and the ending numbers, then it's 100% accurate, right? If I make like 16 trenches, then it becomes just way too convoluted. Right now, already people are looking at it, be like, shit, this is like a little bit too many numbers. But if I go down from this, it would get more accurate, but it'd be really hard to use as a benchmark at all. It's like, okay, I'm somewhere between 1 and 8k legion, so I'm good. It's like, okay, that doesn't really help you, right?
Yeah.
So now it's at least, I think a happy medium, but yeah.
I just think it'd be really, really, really cool to see you, because like you already have like every character above 200, like almost close to 250. So like, I think it would be really cool to just see like you start from the beginning and watch you, because like I'm not gonna lie, like your videos throughout the day too help me get through my day. So it's like fun, because like I'm like watching you and I'm like, oh, okay, that would be cool to try in the game when I get home later today from work. Like, let me do that. So like it'd be like really nice to see like a progression, like you pick a character like during this ignition or something like that to get up to 250, and like it's really just you and Copper Sand. I don't even know why I said top 3 Maplers. It's really just top 2.
Top 2, oh my, we went up one.
Yeah, top 2 Maplers right here.
Rank. Well, it depends on what kind of content you're looking for, right? I think Kobe does a lot of that as well, but I mean, it's in Korea, so it's a different path. But like somehow he's 275 with his Buccaneer already as well.
Yeah, it's just nice. Plus, you get a lot of views. You got to rake in that viewership, you know.
Yeah, the discovery,
that like and that subscribe button.
Yeah. Wow, you got me. All right. Well, now I don't have to do the call out anymore. Thank you. Okay, but this is your progression session. We're actually coming down to like, I don't feel like we've gone over enough things. I mean, we're having a lot of fun chatting, of course, but
I don't really know how these things go. I was just
well, yeah, we kind of just like moved from one thing to another. You started with asking some questions. We ended up here. Did you have like more questions on your list, like things that you wanted to definitely get sorted out? Let's make sure that those are at least all done.
I know end goal results is like to get 3-line stat for all my equips, but that's just billions of mesos that I don't have because of vac pet. So like my end goal.
Well, that's very far. Star forcing is definitely way more important for a long time until you get to like 3 lines of stat. Definitely. The general goals from where you are now is getting. How are you on drop rate gear? Drop and meso stuff, because.
Fully buffed, I'm at 50% drop rate gear, and then with my familiars. Oh, that was a question I had. Okay, so when I pop my familiar, right, my item drop rate goes up, but my meso drop rate does not go up from my meso familiar. Why is that?
Yeah, because MapleStory. Basically, when it comes to familiars, item drop rate and meso drop rate are separate, and when it comes to every other source, they're the same thing, because meso bags are just seen as an item that can drop. So that means that you have to check what your drop rate is in your stat window without your familiars, and if that's at least 67%, then you already have a 100% chance for a bag, and adding a meso drop familiar doesn't do anything anymore at that point.
It's already at 67%.
Is that with your familiar or without your familiar that gives item drop rate? Because the item drop rate familiar will show in the stat window, but it does not affect meso drop rate.
Okay, so I pop both. I have 2 slots for familiars.
Yeah.
And One is item, one is meso. So my
Regular
item drop
amount, right?
rate goes up to 30. Huh?
Regular amount, right? So like 50%
No.
on each,
No.
or
Small. They're
small
both
amount? Okay, so
small.
30. Yeah.
Very small. 30 each, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my item drop rate goes up to 30, but then if I pop my my holy symbol as well,
Mm-hmm. That goes to like
gives me,
45 or
what,
something.
another 51% item drop rate. And then my meso obtained is 735. That's my total.
Yeah. Okay.
So it
yeah,
but it
those-
doesn't move when I pop my familiar.
No, because it's not meso obtain, it's meso drop rate. So you have item drop rate, you have meso drop rate, and you have meso obtain.
Oh.
Meso obtain is how much is in the bags. Meso drop rate is how many bags drop. And item drop rate is how many items drop. And those how many items drop, like I said, that includes meso drop rate usually. But for familiars, those two are separate. So if you check exclamation mark drop rate, yeah, it's lined out here basically.
You can drop multiple bags of mesos from monsters.
You could in the past. Yeah, in the past you could. That's why everyone was at bye-bye station, but you didn't play around that time. But there was an area that could drop 2, even 3 bags per monster. And we would go like crazy on the meso drop rate there. We would have familiars with 100% drop rate, like large amounts. Those would be meta, because then you could get 2 to 3 bags, and you can make an insane amount of money on like low-level characters. And you had suicide farming back then, where you could die and then lose the XP and then stay on the same level, so you could stay within the level range of the monsters. So people could make insane amounts of money with very low funding. And Kana's Kishin would increase the spawn, so you could infinitely scale it as well. This was a different time. You can imagine the amount of people would invest like 4 bill into a character and then start making 4 bill a day back like the week after that. So the game was in a completely different state back then.
Okay, so it's not even worth having a meso drop rate familiar, is what you're saying basically.
Only early on until your building drop rate, and later on, typically if you're going into like Cernium and Burnium, we're talking like 260 plus, right? Because usually the monsters are so strong that you need damage gear to be able to kill them, and then you don't want to rely on the drop rate to get the bags from your equips, but you want to rely on them from the familiars instead, so that you still have 100% chance for bags to drop between the drop rate from your familiar, your holy symbol, and maybe your inner ability. That will give you enough drop rate to always get a bag, so that you can at least make some money while you're training there in full damage gear. And then as much as you can, you'll slowly move from full damage to damage and meso obtain gear as much as as much as you can while maintaining kill speed. Because drop rate is not that necessary there for any other thing, because the only thing that really drops there is node stones. You don't get familiars, you don't get symbols, you don't get droplets, nothing like that. So you kind of like go by the area. So this is what I'm talking about, right? So the base drop rate for bag is 60%. So you want to get 66.66, whatever, 67 rounded up of item drop rate to make sure that you always get a bag from every monster. So as soon as you have that, you don't need meso drop rate anymore, but make sure that you don't count this number in your stat window with drop rate from familiars, because that doesn't count for the bags, right? Those are distinctly separate.
Got it.
Yeah. So then, so the main thing is that you want your WSE to be good. So I would work on your weapon first, right? Look at the stat lines you get out of that. Then probably, even though you have a bunch of stat on your emblem, but because it's already legendary, I would keep rolling there until you get 2 lines of attack, just to capitalize on that being legendary. And in your unique potential, since on your secondary, since it already has 15%, I would keep that for now. And the next step after that would be investing into your potential on your accessories. If you want to stick with this character, you want to keep training, is to get that drop rate and meso obtain up. So you got 9 legendary accessories. You want to get 5 with a line of meso obtain and 4 with a line of drop rate. That this way the meso obtain is maxed because it caps out at 100% chance for meso obtain. That's the highest you can get from your equips. And then because you have 9 accessories, that leaves you with 4. That'll give you enough drop rate to cover this, definitely, but also give you a little bit more for extra nodes, droplets, event items, all that stuff. So that's the foundation that you want. And then you just work on your dailies, work on your nodes, and just work on grinding. Hopefully get that VAC pet, right? So you can capitalize on it. And then if you want to scale up your money, you're looking at the Legion wealth coupons, of course, but you're also looking at making wealth acquisition potions, like the WOPs. Are you familiar kind of with how that works?
I mean, I don't really train my traits at all, or not my traits, my professions.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty simple for the profession part. You really just need to get your alchemy to level 10. That's the easy part. But the hard part is getting the materials to craft them. Like the recipes are pretty common. If you do like a lot of bosses, you'll get the recipes pretty easily. But your recipes are only good for a day, and then you can craft every 5 minutes, and then per crafting you make 3 potions. So you can make quite a lot of potions, and the potions last 2 hours, right? So you can make a lot of potions with just one recipe, but you'll need a lot of materials to be able to make all the crafting. So the main thing that people do is to do the Threads of Fate quest line to get the materials. So that's what I was doing as well while we started the session. It was like AFK doing Threads of Fate so I could get more juniper berry seed oils. That's basically the huge bottleneck into mass producing these things. But you really only need like 1 per totem, right? Ideally, if you want to double dip, you can do the wealth acquisition potions and the experience accumulation potions. You can use both if you're an alchemist on your character. They both last 2 hours. Totem lasts 2 hours. Well, what do you know? It overlaps, you know. But yeah, basically you have the what is it here? Threads of Fate, and then you build your friendship with the right character. And yeah, I've got Threads of Fate I made a video on. For traits, I have a video specifically. For professions, you know, all of those have commands connected to them. CPAP that we mentioned earlier also has a video connected to it. So you can look into the specific details. But yeah, you put Vecpat, you put the right like drop and meso gear combined, you put the coupons, you put the wealth, you put a Buccaneer played well, that's strong enough. So high arcane power, good nodes, and it would definitely work. Since I saw your matrix, definitely take a little bit of a foot off the gas when it comes to your boost nodes, and definitely really fully focus on your Lord of the Deep, because even though you're overkilling now, that's not going to stay the same as easily, especially once you get to higher level areas. You really need to make sure that guy stays on top of it, and that you get close to just focus on maxing that one first, like beyond everything else, because so much of your damage is coming from that guy, and will stay coming from that guy. And then your boost node situation you can like figure out later, not as important, because like you said, you want to get those levels first, right? And then even if you do the bosses that are a little bit lower level, you get all of that final damage bonus by being over leveled over the boss. So that'll help you a lot with Lotus and Damien as well.
Yeah. So Lord of the Deep. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, very big, very big. And then for mobbing, right? You want your base damage for mobbing to be high, so you want your arcane power and then your main skill. If those are high, then all of your other skills will, or all of your other ways of funding will just be so much less important, that you can save a lot of money instead of having to spend it to be able to kill properly. And if you can save it, that means you can spend it on events, which means that your money will be more efficiently spent, and will basically just increase in value if you spend it during an event. And that's like the...
I think...
the phase
so you talked about my emblem getting its 2-stat or 2-line attack.
Yeah.
But I've already dropped like 5 bill on it.
That's just very unlucky. Yeah.
I've never been able to get 2-line attack on it.
Yeah.
And even on my... So, like, that was the best thing. I was like, oh my god, like, that's amazing. Like, you know...
Yeah, I mean, 15 set is not horrible, but it's definitely quite a bit less than 9 attack would be. But yeah, if that's too frustrating, I definitely focus on the weapon though, because you did make the weapon, right? So I'd try to get a good flame on there and get a good potential on there. If that's enough, you can also just focus on the drop and the Mesogear first, and then if you notice that you need some more damage, then you can always circle back to the emblem as well. If you're just not feeling up for that amount of abject failure at this point, you can always push that a little bit further. But the weapon, like you said, we were talking about in the beginning, the extra percentage attack should make a huge difference there.
Yeah. Okay, so Meso obtained, but it's just, oh my god, it's so frustrating because I don't have Meso to get the cubes, to get the Meso obtained, to get more Meso.
It's very slow in the beginning, but like every single item of drop rate and of Meso obtained that you get is going to speed up the process to the next one, and it's really just going to be a snowball rolling down the hill. You add then the potions, the wops, like the fact pad. You start adding all of that stuff to it, and then it's just you're just printing money, and you won't feel like, oh, I have to find some other character that I need to squeeze in like 3 weekly bosses and just to make some money. But it's just like, oh, I'll just use a totem and boom, I print a bill, or 1.5 or 1.6 or whatever your rates are at that point.
Yeah.
And your general income just goes up so much, and it's definitely an investment cost in the beginning. Like one piece of drop rate or Mesogear is easily just like a bill spent on it, but it'll make its money back like so many fold throughout your your playing days.
But it also sucks because like
What is
like
this?
my
Well,
one
because of
ring,
looting now, right?
my
Or-
one ring,
Yeah.
my reboot ring
Mm-hmm.
is like just perfect right now. I think. Where is it? Scroll
Yeah, the
down.
Reboot Awake, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like it's just 3 line of strength, which is like
Yeah, that's a bit of a
godly.
downside. If you're trying to roll for drop rate or mezzo, like if you hit one line of drop or mezzo, you move on to the next thing. But if you hit stat like this, I would say 21 is probably still worth rolling over because accessories can roll double line stat very easily. It's very cheap on average, like way cheaper than the emblem, for example.
Mhm.
Even though the emblem should have been cheaper than what you've already rolled, so that's just unlucky. But if you roll like 24 or higher, I would generally advise to keep that, yeah, and then just to make another one. That slows down the process to getting you to your drop or mezzo gear, which is not ideal, but it does speed up the process of switching from drop and mezzo gear into full damage gear later. So it will circle back, but it does mean you have to find another ring to work for. But if you need some advice on like which pieces we can do these upgrades on, we can look at that if you would like.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I know. I'm working on a Dominator pendant because that one is also the one from the Destiny one. So I'm working on one as well. I'm trying to get that to legendary so that I can get Meso drop on that. I was thinking about also doing my Chaos Horntail necklace.
Yeah.
And my earrings, that would give me 80%.
Yeah, things that are already unique are always the best. Things that are already unique and don't have great potential are the best place to start because you only need one more tier up and it's minimal losses. I mean, it's probably even gains, right? It's got 6% strength now. When it goes to legendary, it's going to get 6 or 9 most likely, right? On one of the other lines. So you're not even losing anything. You're just purely gaining that utility. And that's what you want to look at. You don't want to get into the phase too long where you're reliant on the stat of your accessories, because then moving into drop or mezzo is actually going to be a downgrade and you're going to have to compensate with that somewhere. But if you could jump
like my
straight
eye
from...
and my face accessory, like look at those two.
Because they're like 2 line, right? Yeah, like
No,
18...
They're all perfect. Like they're all like I don't even want to touch those because I know I'm never gonna get those again. Like they're all 23 or 22%.
But you know what? This is a golden opportunity to go do Commercy and get those Sweetwater accessories. Because now if you get the Sweetwater accessories and you get those 2 legendary, you get unique. You get like drop or mezzo on it. Cool, that's your drop or mezzo gear. If you get more stat on it than this, then you can freely roll over this because you've got a backup that's stronger.
Yeah.
So that's a good situation for that, because now you have double the outs on those pieces for rolls.
Is it even worth getting those to legendary, you think? Or do you think I just shouldn't even
These
touch
now,
those?
the Black Beam Mark and the Condensed Power Crystal? No, not right now, no. I would work towards like extra, like if you get an extra Black Beam Mark, you can work on that one, or work on Commercy and just work on that gear so that you can see, if that rolls more stat, then you can roll over this and turn this into drop rate gear. If that rolls drop or mezzo, then that's just your drop or mezzo gear, and this stays your damage gear for a while. This won't really switch out of being your damage gear, probably in general not until you're like full Superior Gollix anyway, which means you have to get to Helix first. Which means, that's like a further down the line thing anyway.
Yeah, I just started being able to solo hard Gullix, so I'm working towards the coins. But I only get like 20 a day, so it's
slow. It's slim pickings when you're doing hard, for sure. But you could always look at party hell, which is hard to find, of course. But if you're in the guild with people who are on the same level, and you can do hard, but you definitely can't do hell. But if you have a whole group of party who can do hard, and together you might be able to do hell, and the coins are instant, so everyone just gets more coins. And then there's a very small chance of there's a decent chance of reinforced stuff, and there's a small chance of superior stuff dropping. So as long as you have a group of people and you've got like a loot rotation of something, but doing that daily with a group of people will greatly increase your coins, and then slowly people will taper off, of course, because they want to solo, because they want to get the drops for themselves, have a higher chance of getting the drops, but it's a good temporary solution. It's just hard to find people to do that. But yeah, you can place the listings now, right? Like Helix parties and stuff. But most people get to those, they just get strong enough to solo on one character, and then they just exchange carries for their other characters. That's mostly the meta. I mean, it's much simpler that way, so it's pretty obvious that would happen.
Yeah. Okay, so Meso obtained.
Just one line of either, and then move on to the next. And then if you end up with, like, let's say, like 7 mezzo and 2 drop, right? Then you just look at whichever ones have mezzo and that don't have any stat on the side, and then you just re-roll those, whatever you have too many of. And then hopefully you end up with at least 6 or so with a line of stat on it so that you don't lose too much. But that full mezzo and drop, it probably won't even be ready then, but if it's ready around the time that you get a vac pad 2, you'll just, your rates per hour will go from, I don't know what they are now, like 150 mil an hour.
Mil an hour.
Yeah. They'll probably go from that to, like, times 5 or something, times 4, depending on what area you're in.
It's lovely.
Like making some 6, 7, 800 mil an hour type deal. Yeah.
That is lovely, I wish.
Mm-hmm. And that'll hopefully, increase the motivation a little bit as well to wanting to do a totem, because if it's like, the perceived value of one will increase.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also have just, like, not been focusing on this. Like, I've really been focusing on my Legion. Like, I've been trying to get characters to 200. Because I know that it'll just, in the long run, get me better stats or better things in the long run.
It will, but if you look at the progression grid, you're good on Legion. Like, I wouldn't say that you need to. Like, right now, if you're just doing the bumper cars for your Legion and, like, doing Zakum runs on the characters that aren't 140 yet, then I think you're doing fine on Legion. I don't think you have to be, like, pushing out too many 200s right now, because you're going to have hyper burns, there's going to be terra burns. The other side is that if you max out your Legion too early, you start, like, missing out on those valuable things as well. Like, what do you do next time a hyper burn comes around? You already have everything 200. Are you going to feel, like, forced to push another character just for the extra 10 to 20 levels, or
just push another character?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking, like, because I already have a Wind Archer, so I'm like, okay, I already have all my Cygnus Knights to, like, level 150, except for my Thunderbreaker, and I'm just like, well, I don't know who I want to make. Like, I just made my Thunderbreaker 200, and he would be the person that I would want to push to 250, and I'm just like, well, fuck, like, what do I do now? So now I'm like,
you could definitely hyper burn your Thunderbreaker, right?
Yeah, but then I miss out on some of the because if you make a new Cygnus and level them up to 200, you miss out on, like, what is it, like 80 node stones or something like that.
I think the node stones is not too high.
No node stones. It's like
you miss out on, like, 300 symbols, but the flip side is you've got, like, another month of doing dailies, which you can easily make, like, 900 symbols in, right?
Yeah, true.
So, like, this is what you're missing, right? New Cygnus, there's, like, some kind of voucher that's probably just an effect, a growth potion, nobody cares. An experience box coupon, that can be nice, but, you can do Monster Park a bunch of times and get boxes from that because the character's alive. Like, I don't know. 50 symbols, 5 nodes, 5 medals of honor, like, 5 nodes for 5 levels. It's not a huge deal. Like, 5 nodes here, 5 nodes here. So that's 20 nodes in total for 10 levels. If you're just grinding out those levels, you're probably getting those 20 nodes anyway. And you can get those levels done if you want to. 1 experience node, 1 unique emblem box. The amount of utility for 2 emblems is quite low. In total it's 300 symbols, but like I said, like, if you get to 215, and then you just sit there and you just do dailies, build up your arcane power, and then you wait for the terror burn, and then you get those last 35 levels. Like, if you're maxing out Choo-Choo and Vanishing Journey every day, that's 45 symbols a day, right? So this is really like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels worth of symbols. Or 6 days, worth of symbols.
6 days worth of symbols, yeah.
But you're waiting a month to create the character to get 6 days worth of symbols?
Yeah.
For some people that's worth it, but for most people probably not.
But I mean, it's also another opportunity to push, like, a character up to 250, right? So, like, get more Legion, right? So, like, there's, like, there's the other side of it. But, like, those other characters don't benefit my main as much as my Buccaneer would at 250, right? Like, what do I get at 250? An extra 20 stat from my Legion from 80 to 100 or something like that?
Yeah,
so,
like, at that point, the real power of... At your stage of the game, I would say the real power of the level is what content can your account access. And then if you're at, like, 8k Legion plus, the 250 value is more like, what could be a really strong bossing mule to increase my income? But if you're in, like, 9k Legion, it's like, okay, which character's level triple S Legion do I not have yet, and do I want to scale into, It's always, like, a different question based on, like, what stage your account is in. Or you could be in like, okay, I have Buccaneer this far, but I'm actually not really liking it. I need to switch to another like full main, and this needs to become my bossing mule. What is the class I like the most? Let me spend some time like the next 2 weeks just fucking around with those 3 characters that are potentials, get them all to like 210, 215, see which one I like the most, and then just terror burn that one and boom, and bite the bullet on that.
Yeah. But I also thought about terror burning my Mercedes just because to get that Mercedes to level 210 and just like not even bring her up to 250 because I just like would hate my life getting a Mercedes.
210 is more doable through other means. So I would say 210 is usually a combination, even if you hit the character, it's usually a combination of bonk pots, EXP events, Monster Park, and then EXP potions from 200 to 210. Those are so common these days with like selectors and stuff. 210 is basically free like that, just with time. I wouldn't use a burn like that. Maybe use a terror burn, but that's only if you only have like 120 so far, and there is a terror burn around the corner. But I would definitely not use a hyper burn for that, unless you're extremely limited on your playtime, and you know that you're definitely not going to be able to get a character like past 220 because you just have no time to play. I would definitely not take that as an option for hyper burn. Yeah.
Got it.
Best level to start hyper burn on, it would be 202 or any multiple of 3 on top of that, or all the way at level, or start a new character, of course.
Yeah. So, what am I thinking?
Well, I just look through your account, look through the screenshots.
So I mean,
for the accessories, do we have all 9 of the accessories? Do we have that clear?
Yeah. So I just need to focus on my Meso obtained. Spend my money on that, get them up to legendary.
So do weapon first, right? Weapon first, and then
weapon first,
drop a meso, yeah.
Weapon first. Are you sure I should do my weapon first? Because like my Apso weapon, the one that I have from the event is still good.
The thing is,
it could be better.
Every single area you're moving to, you're going to take a huge hit in damage, because right now you're doing that plus 50% final damage because of the arcane power. Every area you go to, as soon as you go there, you're losing that. You're going down to 30% or maybe even down to 10% bonus, and that's a huge amount of fun.
What's the next area? That's 235, right?
Yeah, that's a Sphera. And like the spiders in a Sphera, to do bonus damage there, you need 900 arcane power, and it's and like, because like if the base arcane power is 300, you need 450, big whoop. But if the base is 600, you need 900. That's a whole lot. That's a big jump right there. And then the level difference of the monsters plus the arcane power final damage loss is a huge thing. And like you said, you're overkilling now, but it's really hard to kind of feel how big that buffer is until you go in there, do the pre-quest, and you're like, oh, I'm not killing these things for shit. Like this is rough. You're gonna be doing the pre-quest. You're gonna be killing dark executors who need like, I think like 1,050 or something for max final damage, and they're level 249. You're gonna be hitting these boys for a while before they go down.
Got it.
It's not that they're that beefy. You're not doing your damage, and you're gonna feel that once you get to like 270 and you get to Hotel Arcus. Like you get 95% final damage reduction on those when you get into the area the first time. That pre-quest takes a while. Like every single monster there is like a hard Magnus basically that you're fighting. Take a bit to go down.
Great.
So usually you get some friends, you get some guild members, you get some people from the chat to be like, yo, can anyone help me out with this a little bit?
Any friends in chat want to add me as a friend and help me out, much appreciated.
Any people in the 230s looking for friends and reboot?
Yeah, any friends looking for friends?
What's your IGN again? My Buck with 3 C's? What is it again? Yeah, my Buck 2 C's. There you go.
2 C's.
2 C's and a K.
Okay, so weapon, Meso obtained.
Drop rate, combination, right?
Drop
Very important.
rate,
They need each other to work.
Yeah. So I only need like 1 or 2 pieces of drop rate because I have 50% with like all my other stuff.
Well, you want just 4 drop, 5 meso from your equips. 9 legendary equips, 4 drop, 5 meso. That's what you're looking for. Because you can always go over on the drop. That's always fine because you'll just get more nodes, more symbols, more droplets. Like that's never a bad thing.
Oh, you can go over on drop rate?
Bro, so when I boss on my arc, I'm using wealths now because with Threads of Fate, I'm making so many wops that I'm just using them for like small increased chance on like the pitch boss items. When I open the boxes by myself, I'm at 409% drop rate.
What?
So like 100
You
from
want
a
to run
familiar.
me through one of those so I can get all the drops?
The crystal value though, bro.
You want to run me through a lucid real quick?
Yeah, like
Let
the
me
hard
get an
lucid.
arcane weapon?
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
god.
but those are not affected by drop rate. The boxes increase in
Oh.
drop rate as the difficulty of the boss increases, much like flames do. That's why you're not seeing that many flames anymore when you're killing bosses. The things that do get augmented by drop rate is things like soul shards, cubes. You'll see a lot of those at the higher level. Things like primals, you know, but also not affected is things like the MVPs or the small EXP potions. Like those are also not affected. So it's really a numbers game with those. Like get more characters up there, do those bosses more often, and hopefully you see those drops more.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with real
Weapon, drop rate, meso gear, and then just level.
Yeah, and then you know you'll be digging deep into your meso. You're basically waiting for events, right, to make your money worth it. But then you also have time in between events to do bosses, and with that extra drop rate, hopefully get more drops like kind of treasure rings, dominators, primals, right, those kind of things, so that you can actually have backups. And then you have money and backups and events. You put those together, and then you have gains basically.
Yeah.
And really, really, really focus on Star Force.
Yeah.
This is like an early player thing. Is that early players tend to overemphasize a little bit going for potential and not going for the risk too much on the Star Force thing. I get that, but the pound for pound gains for money spent on Star Force versus money spent on potentials is just so much higher for Star Force for very, very, very long. Like for most of my characters, I would go for like 21 Star Force CRA, and my potential will still be unique on that. Maybe you have like 12% or maybe 15% on it or something. Before legend, I would never be legendary before 21 stars on it, honestly. Maybe at like 19 if the character is kind of like going to be stuck there forever and that's strong enough to do the content I want to do for that character. But otherwise, it's just Star Force all the way.
Star Force is more important than legendary potential?
In general, yeah. And it's definitely, like you were talking about 3-lining potential, I would not consider like trying to 3-line potential unless it's at least 21 or already some pieces are 22. Like full 3-lining, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, when you think about it, are you familiar with flames and like flame score and how that roughly works, what that value is like?
I've watched a couple of your videos on it, and I've gotten better at it, but genuinely I just try and look for like a lot of strength and like all stat. Like if I can get 6 all stat on, like most of my, you'll see like on those boots, like I have 74 strength and 5% all stat. I was like, that's amazing. That's an amazing flame, and I was just happy with that. I don't know if it can be higher. I don't know if it could be like 110 or something like that, but
probably could. Yeah, I mean, the episode goes very high. It could probably be like one. Mathematically, it could probably go up to like, if I had to guess, 20 each. It could probably go to like 112 and 7 or something. No, probably higher, like 140 or something, mathematically. But then the cost for that would be astronomical and would be highly inefficient to chase that, right? But the idea is basically that you just take all of the things that could give you any kind of damage, you redirect them to how much stat equivalent is that roughly for your stage of the game. So that takes into account what is the access to sources of damage and how does that access change throughout the game. So early on, percentage stat is highly efficient because you don't get them. You don't get that much percentage stat from all of your potentials, right? Your potentials are typically very bad. So 1% stat on a flame comparatively is very, very good. And once you're... an attack is also very good early because you're not getting attack anywhere. But then as you work on getting high Star Force, then you get way more weapon attack on all of your equips. So the relative value of attack goes down. But the relative value of all stat, even though you get a lot more, goes up because the total amount of stat you get that multiplies by stat goes up, increases in proportion to how much percentage stat you get access to. Because of Star Force, because of flaming, because of everything giving stat, that actually makes it still better to have higher percentage stat than not then super early on, but then like compared to when you're in a transition of like epic to unique kind of thing, you know, when you're going from like 6 or 9 to 12, it's still better to scale, but not when you have like 0 or you have like 3. Of course, if you have 3%, you know, potential, and then you have a 5% flame, like, you know, you're tripling your percentage. So then it's massive. But the idea behind that is like the redirection of those stats. If you use that roughly to get like an estimate of like what is the value of working on my potential versus what is the value of working on my my Star Force, you'll see that like, oh, the flame score, quote unquote, increase here, even though it's not necessarily a flame, of like gaining 10% stat is maybe like 80 to 85 flame score. Right? And then you can look at the calculator, look at how much that costs. Maybe that's like, I don't know, like 12, 14 bill or something. Maybe something in that order of magnitude. What if I spend that same amount of money on Star Force instead? And you could gain like, let's say like 3 or 4 stars. If you add then the 3 or 4 stars, you add that value together, you probably get something like, I don't know, like something like 40 stat and like 45 weapon attack or something. If you redirect that to flame score, you know, weapon attack is about 3 to 1. So that would be like a 160 or something. So you're getting like double the value there with the same amount of money. So it just makes way more sense to go way harder on Star Force early on because of that compounding weapon attack and stat together past 15 versus just that one line. Especially if you're looking at the jump from like 2.5 line, what I call, right, potential to 3 line. That jump is very, very inefficient and definitely something you just do to finish up your items when they're all like 21 or 22. Even for accessories.
Yeah. I just sent you my new weapon in the Discord, in the chat, a picture of it. If you want to take a look at that real quick. That's the one that I'm working on. But I think I got a decent flame on it. Like, I think I have a really nice flame.
Yeah. That's a 47 though. Is it a tier 5? Because Knuckle base attack is so garbage.
I have no idea.
So the tier, are you familiar with the tier system at all?
I'm not familiar with the tier system. I tried using that calculator through your chat settings or whatever.
Yeah. So here, right? We could do this one together. So it's 47 attack on a 154 base. Level is 160, and it's Absolab, so it's flame advantage, right? So that's all the information we know. So we tick flame advantage. Level 160, was it 154? I already forgot the number. Good thing we have it open. Yeah. So we see 47 here. That's a tier 5. So you can see. Or you could put here 47 and do calculate, and it should say here tier 5. So that means that it's working and that the numbers are right. So what would the next tier be? You only can get, so powerful can only get up to 6. So powerful on flame advantage, I believe, do between 3 and 6. And then eternal would do between 4 and 7. So... And then this is only 1% chance, even in Eternal. So that's like an average of 100 Eternals to get 1 tier 7, and then it has to be attack exactly. So there's like 13 different outcomes, right? So that's 1 in 1,500. So we don't look at this, like, ever. Only if you're doing, like, Genesis weapons or Arcane weapons that are 21 star or something. So you're basically always just looking at this one, relatively acceptable. Again, if you want to know that, you can do the cost calculator. We can do weapon. We're using powerful flames, and we want a tier 6 plus, so that that opens up for tier 6 and anything above that. We say nothing here. We do calculate. You see it's a median of 23 flames, average of 34 flames. That's very, very doable, right? 200 to 300 mil to get that tier 6. Very doable. But we don't have a tier 6. We have a tier 5. So we want to know, is it worth rolling from a tier 5 to a tier 6? So what would we gain? 15 attack. Okay, let's say that we are late game. Strength class, 15 attack. What is that? That's about 60 flame score that we're missing there. 60 is very high if you compare it to any other piece, but weapon is on a whole other level, right? Like if you were missing 60 flame score on a CRA, that basically meant that you would have like 15 flame score right now. So that's like, okay, I need to get that extra 60, right? Because it's so easy. Yeah. But you have more, right? So if you look at progression here, you look at the stage that you're in, you look at your weapon flame that you're looking for, weapon flame, you see here, you're going towards the later stages, so we're looking at for tier 5 plus or a tier 6. And the plus, if you hover over here, it says it means stuff like boss damage, damage percent, all stat combination, right? So we go back to your flame, we see that you have 45 strength and 4% damage, which damage is the hard one here. It's really hard to qualify how much damage, percentage damage is, just because of class differences. Some classes have way more percentage damage combined, and then 4% is not that huge of a deal. Some classes have almost none, and then 4% damage is huge. So you just keep that in your mind that it's definitely a surplus, but it's not something that we can look at in the base. But since we know that you have 45, you're already getting 3/4 of this. So this is down to only like a 15 difference, right? because you get 45 here instead.
Yep.
Which is 45 flame score. So you're only 15 shy of getting this, and you have 4% damage. So, you know, a little bit of guesstimation. 4% damage is definitely going to be at least that 15 stat worth. So you have definitely the equivalent of a tier 6, or maybe even a little bit above that when it comes to the flame. So I would say this flame is good enough and doesn't really warrant you to roll much above that, unless you think you're going to hold on to this for very, very long. But even then, I would wait a little bit until re-rolling, because right now, the opportunity cost is definitely in favor of working on the potential, right? Because the percentage attack and getting to legendary is highly beneficial in terms of return to your money, rather than working on the flame at this point. So that's like the whole step when you just look at a flame and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. That's how you can go from I have no idea, I hope it's good enough, to actually knowing that you're in the right part, right? Checking out the calculator, checking out the tiers, looking at the progression grid, looking at what kind of number am I aiming for. And then if it's not a weapon, you can look at this, like non-advantage. Okay, you look for 20 to 25. Flame score with advantage, you're looking for something like 85 to 95 roughly, right? And then you know that you're in the ballpark. And if you're in ballpark, you're good to go. You can move on to the next piece. And if you want to here, you could save the flame score of your items as well, so that you can kind of keep track. And you can have them all in one screen as well, so you can compare them and be like, okay, I think we're all good. But then maybe you look like, maybe your pants are like, you know, like 85, which is like, okay, 85 on the pants, you know, flame advantage. Okay, they're right where I want them to be. And then maybe the top that looks around the same is actually only like 60. Well, let's say you get flames now. Okay, well, what do I upgrade first? Well, the 60 first, right? Because it has a better return on investment on the flame.
Yeah.
And that way you can, you know, keep it in one place. You can add a whole bunch of numbers if you want to. You can make this as convoluted as you want to. You can add other characters, you know, whatever you want there.
Okay.
Yeah, so then you see, like, you know, if you would add the stat, what we were talking about earlier, right? Like the 10, all stat is a little bit favorable, is better than flat stat, right? But for the shoe potential, for example, and if you really wanted the numbers, we can check !Star Force. We're really getting into deep now. Getting into the video, you can look at the numbers. You can look at the combined total stats of high Star Force. You'll also find that past 15, everything, all the bonus stats are really just reliant on the type of item that it is. But it's almost all the same. So like a weapon past 15 stars will get the same bonus stats as like shoes or something. So that's why the further you go, you're basically just wearing a bunch of mini weapons is actually what ends up happening.
Wow.
Like high Star Force stuff, just like all the pieces. Like my pendant has 94 attack, right? Like this ring is 94, 93, 83, 79, 94, 83. And then the weapon has 611, of course. But like 7 of these other pieces together also have that attack, you know?
Yeah.
122 on the belt because, you know, Gollux is balanced. 102 here, 103, 87, 80. You add all of that up, right? And that's why that relative value of attack goes down a little bit as you go further into the game. So let's say that we have a 16-star shoe. So you look at 160. You have visible stat plus 13. Non-weapon attack plus 10. And then this always. So you have 53 and 10 over the base stat, right? So plus 53 and 10 on 16. Is that what you have? I don't know if you're logged in.
Plus 53 on which one?
On stat, on the so strength and dex, I think, or just on strength maybe. On your Abzo shoe. So you're looking for the blue number.
Plus 31.
It's only 12-star. It's not even.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you didn't get your Abzo all the way up.
I didn't get my
okay.
Abzo.
Well, we could look for CRA. So CRA would be 51 and 9 attack. If it's at 16.
Yeah, 9 attack. Yep, 9 attack and 51. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you would go from 16, if you go to 21 instead, right? Then you would have a total of plus 106 and plus 69. Nice.
Wow.
So, and then you could throw it into calculator, right? Look at like how much would that cost versus how much would the potential cost. But you compare those numbers in the Flamescore calculator. So that would be another, what is it? Another 60 attack and another, I don't know, fucking 50 stat or something, right? 60 stat.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at like a 300 versus the other one that was like 80. In money, the 21 Starforce is going to be more expensive, but not 4 times as expensive. And if you're making progressive gains, it's always going to be more than, oh, double the gains, double the money. Usually double the gains is at least like 3, 4, 5 times the money, right? And the higher you go, the crazier that multiplier becomes.
Yeah.
Because every next stat is harder to gain than the previous one. So that's kind of how you can compare, and that's why the calculator.
But that's like
so
extremely late game. That's like after ignition, after I get the backped, after I get the Mesa.
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Like we're a ways away from that. Okay.
Yeah, but we're looking at like the first items that are going to go are mostly like your CRA, right? Because at that point you're really just looking, you're just doing the weeklies and stuff, and you're just looking at, okay, where do I have the most backups? Most backups means lowest risk of failure, and then you send within your budget.
Yeah, I have like 100 pieces.
Yeah, so you already have 20 backups.
Yeah.
Another thing, and this is why this is why I like keeping low tier potential on CRA as well, because you don't have to leave behind too much. What some people do as well, they go to like 17 CRA, then maybe they make a whole lot of money, or a Shining Star Force comes around and they want to go for 21. What can actually be cheaper is first opening up all your emblems and seeing if you get some kind of Giga Chad Flame in there. Because if you reveal the coupons, it could a tier 7 open. So that's like Eternal Flame type rolls. And sometimes people open some crazy flames there, and then you just start off on that new piece and you just completely abandon the old piece. Because if it's 17 star and like epic or unique, that's nice, but if you are embarking on a double-digit billion thing, then that's just like something you could just cast aside. It's not that big of a deal. You know, you can redo that potential. But that flame could be like a 50 billion flame, you know, value if you get a lucky one. But like, when are you going to spend 50 billion on star forcing and or potentialing? I mean, that's like a 3-line 22 star and then some, you know. So that's why sometimes slowing down on something and waiting for an event can actually give you the opportunity to like skip a step and kind of like jump ahead instead. Same thing with like Gollux. Sometimes people try to rush towards Superior Gollux, try to get that 17-star Gollux immediately, right? Work hard on that potential. But some people are unlucky with Gollux, and it's like, oh, it's so shitty, I can't move into that. And that is shitty. But what that allows you to do is just work harder on the other pieces. Maybe get like a 21-star foddered pink bean belt first before you even see a belt. And then by the time you get a belt, you can immediately move it into 20, and you don't have to do the switch twice where you have to do the potential twice. You just do the potential once. So you actually end up saving money in the long term. It does focus you to, or force you, I mean, to focus more on other pieces that you have. But if those pieces are stronger, then when you finally do make the move, you end up stronger anyway.
Yeah.
So even if you get unlucky, you gotta see how you can turn a negative into a positive, basically.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how the rest of your day is looking. We've been at it for quite a while. Do you feel like you have questions left?
No. I think I learned a lot from this, and yeah, I mean, right now, I'm just waiting until 8 o'clock so that the new day starts, and then I can get like 2 bill or 1.5 bill, and try and get my weapon up to legendary and 17 star it. But I think today I'm just grinding. Today's just a grinding day. I'm gonna try and get him to 235 today, so I'm about a level and 30% away. So I'm gonna try and unlock the new area, get the new stone, get more increase on strength as well from that. So that's
those levels on those new symbols, those early levels are super valuable for sure. Yeah, try to get those gains in. I mean, the Night Troop is huge for EXP, and that's the other thing. Try to definitely get as much gains that you can out of this event, but also don't get too attached to like your percentages per hour and that kind of stuff, because that is gonna fall off after this event inevitably, right? It's all like it's better to have been boosted and leveled than not to have leveled at all, kind of thing. Hopefully it
How many
gets
times
you
can you
over
do
the
bumper
bump.
cars a day? Is it just one time a day?
Yeah, I saw people doing it yesterday right after reset, and it seemed like it's just once a day per account. Yeah.
Got it.
And they got 2 bonks, and that gave them 3 levels, which is not the best, but I mean it's still 3 levels. So all the little bits, all the bits together help, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got 10 levels yesterday from it, so I was
nice.
extremely happy. Yeah.
Oh, so technically today, right? Because it opened up Maple today, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Maple today. Yeah.
Yeah, because Wednesday, time zones.
Yeah, time zones. So yeah, just gonna be bossing today.
Okay.
Try and get some money. Gonna get my Thunderbreaker, his Fafnir weapon today too. So I'm gonna try and get
that's
CR
nice.
fully done on that too.
Don't get too depressed on those flames, because again, those base stats are even lower.
Yeah.
I think a tier 6 is like 30 attack or something, or like 32. It's because of the what is it, like a 1?
This game is so frustrating sometimes. I've spent so much money on this game, like Mesos wise, just on that emblem, just trying to get it.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one. Yeah, sometimes you just sometimes people say like items are cursed. I never do that, but that definitely slows you down, because that could have been like 4 meso pieces, right? And then you could make the money back faster. Yeah, but that's just hindsight being 2020. Best thing you could do is just look at your current situation, look what you have now, and what's the next step, and not worry about too much.
Yeah. And if anybody in the chat wants to do a normal Lucid, let me know. I'm down.
Normal Lucid, or like maybe like a normal Lotus and Damien first to like work on those mechanics a bit, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can solo them. I'm gonna go into the practice run today, because if I can solo them today in the practice, then I'm just gonna solo them when it's available today.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about like waiting for parties and stuff. Yeah. Although I imagine right after reset for Lotus and Damien, there's probably a bunch of parties, because everybody wants to get all their their equips immediately.
Yeah. I normally just do all my bosses today, and then that's really it.
Okay. All right.
I'm working on another boss mule too, just so I can get 2 bill a week. You know, like that's what I'm trying to do with my Thunderbreaker.
Yeah, that's why I want to. I want to help you get that drop in Meso gear online, because then you won't feel as forced to like to go much in width, but you can go more in depth, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with either one, right? You know, if you like playing a lot of characters, that's cool too. But a lot of times people want to. It depends a little bit. You know, you're going in width now with more Legion, and then you want to go in depth because you want to get to more content, right? That's what you originally said. Like, you want to go into Tenebris and that kind of stuff. So you have to go just more in depth with one character. And then once you get into that area and your leveling gets terribly, terribly slow, you're like, okay, well, now I want to go in width maybe a little bit more, like approach that 8k Legion, maybe make some more bossing mules. And then maybe there's a trainee event or a new area that comes out. You're like, oh, now I want to go in depth again. You know, as long as you have like your general focus, then you're good. But always do a little bit of both. A little bit. Yeah.
Just trying to.
No, I think you're doing quite well. Okay. Any closing statements? Any last words? So open call out for parties and NA reboot, for Lucid, and any Buccaneers who want to give tips, I guess, is always welcome as well, right?
Yeah. Anybody who wants to add me and help me out, like with tips and stuff like that, because like clearly I didn't know that I could double jump with the whole lightning form too. Like that was awesome. But like any other Buccaneers that want to help me out, like with tips and stuff, like what I should be focusing on as well, like what nodes I should have in my V matrix and stuff like that too. That'd be awesome.
The class Discord can also help you with quite a bit of that. Have you joined that one?
Which one?
The like class Discord specifically for the Buccaneers. Have you looked into that?
There's a class Discord?
Oh, yeah, there's Discord for all of the classes. If you join... You're in my Discord? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you check on the top left, there's a class Discords room there.
Oh my god.
Should be here, class Discords. And there you have invite links to all of the individual classes. So you can join whichever one you want, and you just follow the instructions. They all have their different rules. Sometimes they require you to post your IGN and whether you're a main or something. And then they have like FAQs and, you know, just general chats where you can talk with other people who play the same stat and just get a whole bunch of information from that.
You know, I'm not seeing the buck. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there's so many that it's almost hard to find the one. Yeah, because I tried to join all of them, got kicked from a bunch of them, but like I'm in most of them, and then I put those all in one group in my Discord, you know, bulge of fucking Discords, and then it's like, okay, I need to find a class, and then some of them are like memers and they change their class icon for their Discord like every 3 days, so it's like hard to find where they are. It's like, I think it's this one. I think the ARC one is like, oh, sad support class or something. It's like, okay, like it doesn't even make any sense. You just have to know which one is which. So sometimes you're just looking for the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe in the guild, Joe Bro is maining Buccaneer. Yeah, he's in the Discord a lot for chatting, so you can. Sometimes, yeah, if you go into Discord, sometimes there are people in the voice channel, right? And they can be playing your class as well.
I've joined a couple times. I've talked to a couple people. It's really nice. They've helped me out. The Discord, your Discord is very nice. It's very helpful. 100%. A lot of people are always willing to help. Which is really nice. It brings me back to the old days. Really
yeah, nice. Just trying to bring that a little bit back. Not that it's not that one is better than the other, but it feels more homely or something. Just a little bit 100%. Less pressure. I
just need them to bring back Hennessy's Hunting Ground 3.
Something.
I'll be happy.
ETG 3? Okay, is that your... Well, they're bringing it a little bit back, right? They got Extreme Monster Park with for high-level people, which is kind of like party training for like 5 minutes a day at least. So they're bringing a few things back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good luck with your grinding day and all of your upgrades. If there's any major things that we somehow forgot, you could just hit me up on Discord and I'll go into depth a little bit more. But otherwise, you can always ask questions in the chat and I'll do my best to answer everything as always.
Yeah, and thank you again for just being so cool about it. I mean, honestly, guys, if anybody wants any tips, just hit him up because he's always been there. It might take him a little bit. It's always been like a day, but he's super busy. But honestly, you've been really helpful, and I'm glad that we were able to finally, talk and get this done.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't really.
It could have been another week or so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I was really pressuring for time. It took a little bit longer, but that's fine because we were waiting anyway. So. Yeah. All is well that end well, kind of thing. Better late than never, 100%. Okay. Well, best of luck with everything. Yeah. I'll see you around. And have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty. So, for people in similar situations, hopefully that shed some light on your situation, what kind of stuff you're trying to go for, and how far you want to be at the game. For many things, I would say just, if you're not sure if you can do them, just try them. You have practice mode for a lot of things. If you fail, you fail. You can get some buff freezers. Remember, if you have buff freezers in practice mode, they don't even get consumed. So you can you just get infinite value out of buff freezers in practice modes, and you can do a lot of practice modes in a day. Best way to know if you're completely not ready, or if you need to work on damage, or you need to work on mechanics, or if you need to get a better computer, all of that stuff, the shortest direction to that information, to the answer to your question, is just to give it a try and see what happens, And you could definitely check some videos out and ask for some tips. Some people play the same chat. But I would just implore all of you to just go in and fail, But try to learn from your failure, right? Because if you're just failing alone, it's not it's not that great. But if you can learn from that failure, you can take information from that and put it to good use, then you're moving forward, right? So yeah, if you want to win one of these coaching sessions with me, make sure you leave a comment on the YouTube video saying that you would like to win. Please include your Discord name so I can reach out to you. I did reach out to the people from last month, but I did not hear anything back, so I think I'm going to draw some new winners. As for, you can also do these with direct donation or with channel points if you're watching my Twitch stream, if you're subscribed over there, and you can be in this beautiful chat during the sessions and during all my live streams. I stream all day, every day. Not really, but like I do stream more than full time. So twitch.tv/Scardor, you can find me there. And there you can also find the links to all of this information that we went over here. Those are all available through the chat as well. To anyone. That's not like behind a paywall or behind a follower wall or anything like that. You can always just go into the chat and use, I guess you need an account on Twitch, but that's about it. With all that said, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you either on the next one or I'll see you live on stream. Thanks for watching.